Cool.
How have things been at camp since I've been away?
Things are good. We've
Fair.
made some progress. The druids seem to be doing well with the trees. Of course, food is still a concern. It's I see that not much is on these ships.
All right. Well,
Nope. Nobody asks Adam why he's only got one hand now. I guess it's probably hard to tell when he's got a shield, right?
Yeah, does he have a shield?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. Never leave home without it.
He will kind of look over. Rest of you guys. I spoke with the Baron. He asked what the situation was back at camp. I had to tell him that we'd lost many of our leadership upon the actual boats on the way in, and we lost further individuals while here during the attacks from the indigenous. I simply told him that that Gallus had fallen to a sickness and he didn't recover from it, but
Good move.
I don't think he sensed any duplicity, but he is going to probably question me later about it because he's going to learn that he was put down. But I figured I would give you the chance to possibly, hopefully, approach him yourselves and kind of put his mind at ease as to what has been happening over the past few days or few weeks now. I will likely still be remaining upon the ships, and we're going to be returning back here soon. They'll probably leave you with at least one ship, but the Baron has already stated that I'll be returning with the 4 ships.
Very well.
Wait, what?
4 of our ships will be returning back to Choso. As soon as we have the supplies for it, they're going to send us off with a skeleton crew.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They
Well,
don't
when the
intend to
time
leave
comes.
all of the sailors here.
Okay. Well,
Any idea of what kind of numbers we're looking at keeping?
We've got hundreds that came in on the actual 4th wave, so food's going to be getting tight here very soon. But if we can get stuff planted and maybe rely a bit more on the Ekla, perhaps we can see it through without too many issues. But
Did they bring seeds and such?
oh yes, they have just about everything we need to actually start up a colony. It's just we're going to be a few months behind. We're going to need something to kind of absorb some of the supplies while we get the farms up and going. I'll take at least 2 months.
we can handle that. We have some people. We have a group coming for the Dwarf King. And we have many of the coin from the mountain that we could barter back to them, or find some other kingdom that they trade with that would accept that coin.
Very well. I mean, we perhaps don't have a lot as far as material goods, but perhaps some of these other colonies will at least trade information. We have other things that we can provide at least. But we'll have to learn what wealth we have around us and kind of work in that way. If you have any questions or any suggestions you'd like to make as far as the Baron, let me know. But please try to be very careful with this. He is, I'm learning, not a stupid man.
Good. We don't need a stupid man in charge. He made some comments that makes me think he's willing to make comments without full information, which is a bit arrogant, but not stupid, and that could eventually be remedied with more knowledge and more experience. I imagine if he landed in the middle of a couple of hundred hobgoblins, he probably wouldn't decide to just set up shop right there with one ship surviving.
Perhaps not, but he doesn't have the full story, and
That's understood.
well, make concessions where concessions are needed, and hopefully I'll be speaking with you all again back at camp. But I suppose I will be going back upon the ships here very soon to kind of get the skeleton crews set up and see which men would be able to make the trip back. I'm sure some are not going to be happy with the idea that they're going to be right back upon the ships, but gotta do what we have to do. Farewell.
Yeah, well, there's not exactly a lot of accommodations here that they're missing out on, so yeah.
If you're worried about
Thank you for your
mutiny,
time.
I wouldn't think that forcing men to go right back out to sea would be the bright idea.
He wasn't worried about mutiny among the sailors. That's not his problem once the sailors are gone.
I think he's more worried about mutiny at the settlement, right?
Yeah. And I can imagine only having pieces of the story that being a concern. You know, the leader of the group is now dead. And it wasn't the disease that killed him, it was us that killed him. Due to him not being able to shake the disease. But still, again, if you only get pieces of that story, it's not that far of a stretch to think mutiny.
Right.
Fill out my drink, be right back.
Okay. So everyone tends to go and kind of pick up, and everyone is mostly working, trying to get all the supplies back. The Baron eventually does continue on with his retinue of bodyguards, and he continues on towards the camp. It seems like after everyone's been kind of unloaded from the ships, it seems like he's brought with him about roughly 60 soldiers. You're not sure of their experience, but you think they would be something formidable if you actually had to be in a fight up against them, given that there seems to have been brought on specifically to accompany the Baron.
Well armored, good, look combat ready.
They're all in steel, all have a couple of swords on them, longbows, everything. These guys, they are trained.
It's good. We'll need them.
Yeah. And there also are some other mercenaries as well that look like the kind of same style swords that kind of came up with y'all. Just kind of mix of their own hodgepodge gear they brought with them. I said there's at least a few hundreds of people on these ships, so only about a fourth of them actually look like they're fighting fit, but the rest are the actual kind of hard manual laborers you'll need to kind of help put this colony together. But eventually everyone's kind of starts dispersing back towards the colony, and just let me know what y'all do.
Are the ships completely offloaded?
Most of them are. There's still some other trailing stuff kind of going, but a lot of the big stuff has been unloaded, yes.
I'm going to be one of the last people back to camp. I don't really have anything political to add. I'm more brawn.
Okay.
All right. Well, walking back, we need to find out how much he knows. Obviously, he's getting ready to get a rude awakening if he doesn't know of all the non-chosen people in the camp. I do Tum-Drum, of course. If he pulls me in to speak with me, you will be there. I can't do that without you. And I'm going to look back to Tana and go, what's your thoughts on the situation?
Well, unfortunately, I think we're probably the ones that are going to get a rude awakening. 60 is greatly outnumbering us. he can decide what he wants to accept as truth or not. And we're going to have to accept it. The air doesn't smell good right now.
In the past, I'm sorry, excuse me. In the past 4 months, I think we faced a lot worse than one man and 60 of his goons.
Agreed, but we're the ones here with options. We have the ability to go anywhere on this continent. He has a colony that he has to lead. If he butts heads with us so much that it comes to that, we can easily leave. He has to stay and try and build a colony. Weston, if he does call you in and wants to speak one-on-one, you do not have to insist that I come in. I will appreciate that gesture, but as part of the Royal Guard, he will completely trust you, and as a friend and knowing you for these last few months, I trust you to tell the truth, and that's all that I would do. I may butter it up a little bit, but it would be the truth.
Oh no,
So I have no fear of or worry about what you would say in that, but I do appreciate that you would mention that, I would be able to offer a better understanding of how things are going around here. I appreciate that.
I definitely will not lie. He will know the truth and all of the truth. I have no reason to lie to this man, as do we have no reason to fear what he's going to do to us. He will be fair, he will be just, and what happened to Gilus was what must be done for the colony. He will see that.
Agreed. He seems a reasonable man so far.
So y'all actually get back to camp. Y'all actually don't really hear too much back until about a little bit later in the afternoon. And they do approach Weston, and it is actually a few of the Barons right there. They approach Adam and kind of have been kind of pointed his way by some of the other colonists, and they'll one of the main ones say, Sir Weston, the Baron would like a word with you. If you could perhaps gather up some of the other scouts as well, he would like to speak about some of the goings on in the past few months since y'all first landed upon here. I would express that you should possibly leave any weapons behind in your tent. This is a man of the nobility, as you understand, and I do have to take precautions, being that I don't quite know of y'all's stay on these islands and how they might have affected you. I hope that you understand.
Of course. Please let the Baron know that the 6 of us will be joining him shortly.
He will give a slight bow, you kind of get the sense that he's kind of probably, just a sergeant, probably below you somewhere in station, but he is trying to remain respectful, and he will, after you've kind of dismissed him, he will turn about and stride back through the camp and going back towards the hollowed ground where the main command tent is located at.
As I thought it would be. Good placement. Okay, I will, I'm sorry, go ahead and answer Eden's question there.
Yes, he will return the fragment to you if you request.
Yep, she's gonna need it, I think, for the next week until everybody settles down in the colony.
Yep.
Yeah, it does make sense. Or, if it came to it, Macdaman could cast tongues on you if need be.
Good point. Thanks for letting me know, Tundra.
For a meeting such as this,
Well,
if you
just in
need
case
to
he gets
continue,
caught outside the circle.
yeah, in case you're trying to continue on looking like a human, wanted to work that on.
Okay, so Adam, you go around gathering up the rest of the party and kind of mustering them.
Including Macdaman, yes.
Okay, Macron will also join you all. very happily. And I guess y'all all kind of coalesce. Does anyone actually keep any weapons on them?
Absolutely not. I won't allow it.
Kale keeps her packed weapon summoned away. Is she supposed to hand that over?
You don't really have to hand it over. They just don't want you like coming to the. From what Adam would be able to explain to you, they just don't want you coming to his tent brandishing weapons or having weapons on you.
Well, she's gonna keep her pack weapon hidden,
Yeah.
but she's not gonna.
Yeah, because for you, it's just you basically just kind of tuck it away in a dimensional pocket, and you can just kind of summon it in, kind of like how Adam summons in his armor.
Yeah, I don't believe that we'll be patted down in any way. It's just a sign of respect and trust.
Okay. So, I'm not hearing any kind of nays, so I'm
Not
assuming all of
bringing a
you.
weapon.
Okay. So,
Tana will, since her bow is pretty conspicuous, once Weston informs her that they're wanted at a meeting, she's gonna go try to tuck it away somewhere. Even if, up in a tree or something, just to...
no, there's not really a lot of trees around here except for around the temple.
Well... I mean...
I'll have Ominous guard it. Aminous, sorry.
Put it in a bag of holding or something.
Okay. The Tumdrum's bird is good enough by her. So, yeah. And since Weston requested, she will leave her weapons behind.
Okay. So, y'all kind of meet up around the command tent and kind of walk in together. The guards don't really, as you think, they don't actually pat you down or anything like that. They mostly just kind of look some of you over and kind of hold the tent flaps open as y'all go in. And you can see Van Hyden kind of sitting in there as well, kind of across from the Baron. The Baron will finish up saying, said, well, you can go and have your rest now. It seems like my other guests are here. Thank you for your work. And he'll give a nod to Van Hyden. Van Hyden will step up out of the chair and kind of give a salute and very crisply make an about face and nod to you all and kind of head off through the tent as well. And the Baron will kind of wave his hand to some of the other chairs that are kind of sitting off to the side of this very large tent, and they're kind of stacked up. He says, "You go and have a seat. I've been meaning to speak with you, but I had to get some of the other important details out of the way first. Please make yourself comfortable."
Of course, we'll salute before I do, and thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I am a man of formalities, even if people do not think the North to be very civilized. We are, at least my family at least, we place a little weight in decorum. It's a sign of respect and constant vigilance, and it's good to know that you haven't forgotten how to salute and click your heels whenever you need to out here in the wilds. That's usually the first thing to go.
Thank you, sir.
And just as before, he kind of looks the group over, and his eyes linger a bit longer on Tana, but he kind of eventually pulls his attention back to the rest of you.
I will begin, sir, if I may. I will begin with introductions, and then I will go down the line. Obviously, speaking of, I'll save Caleb for the last. This is Tumdrum Haskaldar. He is by far our public servant, I guess is a good way to put it. He handles our public relations. That would be best. He is a people person, and honestly, I know that you've probably seen the strange people that are called the Eklon here in camp.
Yes, I have seen them. Can't say I was expecting that, but from what Van Heiden's told me, Tom Rimsmore, as they call him, the bringer of booze.
Yes, sir.
Quite the title for the dwarf.
Have been called much worse and not much better. So that's nice.
Well, they seem to. Van Heiden stressed that it was out of a sense of fondness and that you're well liked around the camp. It seems you've done quite more than your own share in trying to keep the morale up, within the colony, even after multiple reasons for it to have broken.
Yes, and without the morale, this group could have easily fractured and fell under the various threats, especially after the first werewolf attack. Getting them through the knolls was a frightening ordeal that couldn't have happened without them agreeing to come together as a group.
Baron nods his head and kind of looks to Adam and then kind of glances over to Mactaman.
Mactaman, Cordelone, I believe. What's his last name?
Yeah,
nods his
that's
head.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Good call.
Resident doctor, a man who has saved our hides more times than I can count, also has set up this hallowed ground for which language is not a problem for us and the locals. He is by far the reason that I stand before you today.
The Baron gives a nod and says, I've not seen magic the like of this since I've been back within the Royal Palace. It's very rare to see something of this magnitude. But it is said that great conflict breeds great strength. So it is a little surprise, but that y'all managed, with the likes of the characters you'll have among you. But he will kind of give a nod to Macman, saying, "I am honored."
He might also be the reason that you're standing here today, for it was his sending messages that.
Yes, he may be. I did get a few correspondence from some of the Way of White, the priestess Octavia, who was corresponding with me, and they did some good, helping us not walk into a trap so much. From what the Admiral has told us, the storm wall is deadly to the point where none of our 4 ships would have made it through.
It's not a ride you want to take, sir.
I can very much see that, given the few remnants of the third wave. But he will eventually kind of turn his eyes over to Dee Dee and looked at him.
Dee Dee, simply Dee Dee, is the brute force of our scouting party. She is, without a doubt, the leader when it comes to the hunt. Never afraid to take battle alongside stranger or friend, foe. Is quickly wiped clear. Also, she's a pretty good smith.
Yeah. The backs of many fighting forces are forged by the infantry. I can see why you would have one of her kin among you as to help hold the line. Very good, very good. And
Tana. She speaks.
he is a baron. He is not as prestigious as a duke. He is a level below duke. He is a baron.
Thank you. I was confused because I was.
Yeah, I said it
earlier,
wrong
you mentioned
once.
it.
I was derpy.
Tana, do you have a last name?
Yellow Lion.
Can just say Tana.
Yeah.
Yellow
It's
lip.
easier.
There you go. That right there is our master tracker. She has also probably slain more creatures on this island than anyone else here. She is a master shot with a bow, and I would do well to have her at my back every day.
You see the Baron kind of look her over quietly and says, I hoped there might be no animosity between us given what happened in the north, but I hold no ill will towards you or your kind. I'm not sure what you know of those dark times, but perhaps you should be aware that I had little part in it.
History check.
I was not there, my lord.
Okay. Well, those of you who do want to do a history check, you can. Adam, you don't remember much, but you do know that there was an elven kingdom up in the northern reaches that is no longer there.
Yeesh. Okay.
But it was something of a galvanizing effect whenever it was taken down, where it kind of made the war kind of, as far as like between like the elves, kind of shoot up another notch. But with Tanner's response, he will nod and said, I was worried it might be an issue. I did not know they'd sent very many elves among the third wave. So, but I'm glad it's something that could be put behind us, as I have no great plans to bring up old grudges here in a new land. This is a place for new starts, new beginnings.
I serve, my lord.
He'll seem to smile at that and kind of just basically exactly what he wanted to hear. And he'll look over now to Caleth, kind of squinting his eyes a bit.
She's still in human form, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Caleth is our newest member to the scouting party. We met her in the kingdom of Gungren in dark times. What seemed like weeks, we were inside, and I'm often cautious of newcomers, but she has proved herself quite an asset. But I must inform you that her human form is not true.
I'm happy you would seek to tell me this, and he'll kind of raise his hand a bit and says, I could see the falseness of her image whenever she first stepped into my tent when I first saw her on the bank today.
I'll look to Caleth and nod as in kind of a, you can drop it if she can control it. I don't know. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Caleth, do you drop your mask?
She's gonna greet the Baron by giving the Baron a solemn nod, and then she's gonna ask if he wants her to drop it. She's leaving it up to him.
If it would cause you no pain, I prefer to speak to one another without any glamours between us. I will give you all assurances that I wear none.
It is my understanding that she does it not as a deceptive act. She does it more to keep peace between the colony, and not to have any fear.
Perhaps.
She's gonna remove the glamour.
Okay, so you're kind of in a swift, kind of smoky bit of fluid movement. Your skin seems to not so much kind of flake away, but it seems like as this kind of smoke kind of pours over your flesh, it kind of reveals the kind of draconic scales and the more kind of regal and almost battle hardened image of the Dragonborn. And he will kind of take a moment to even it does seem like he does kind of taking a sharp breath, just kind of looking at you. It's probably one of the first times that anyone kind of see a Baron himself actually be slightly spooked, but he does kind of take a moment to look over the strange creature before him. You would be one of the indigenous of these islands, would you?
That I am.
And the Eklund out there, they're not like you, are they? I did not sense the same.
Kale's gonna pause for a moment to think over her words, but then she's gonna make a dismissive gesture and say, "No, my kind tends to regard them as primitive cannibals, as you can see."
Primitive cannibals? I've not heard the same repeated by Van Hyden, but it is interesting to know that some of them might be such savages. And he will kind of look between you. Is anyone still standing, or has Eric? I'm assuming maybe some of you actually had taken a seat as y'all had basically been introduced.
I'll be sitting on the ground.
I am standing.
He told us to sit, didn't he?
He did, but I'm
Yeah, he
standing.
pointed at chairs or something, but yeah, I'm sitting.
Alright. And as Dee Dee asks her question, I'll say, I am from Solgant, the frozen tundra. My noble house is the actual namesake of the area, the Solgants, but as time had kind of gone on, the name Drusus became more prominent among our family as we had a bit of infighting, and you'll know us now by that as we're kind of working our way into the Emperor's good graces. And as a forward step with that, I have decided to come here to the new lands. But Selgant, yes.
Greetings. I'm hoping to learn of that region more so when I return to Choso, if and when, maybe to recover some family of my own out there. Does Lieutenant Weston told you already? I have no family name. My family is one of the things I do not remember from that time, and it pains me.
Well, I wish you the best with that. There was a lot of skirmishes and lost individuals in the Northern Wars, but each of us have our burden to bear, and I assume that having to carry their memories and the task of trying to find your kin might have made you stronger for it. Otherwise, you would not have made it here. And he will kind of look back to Adam, the rest of the group, and says, "So, I've heard from the Admiral, I've heard from the Quartermaster. They've told me what they know, but they've mostly stuck with by the colonists and dealt with some of the attacks from a mix of indigenous and from stuff as dangerous as gnolls, even hordes of them. I would have you tell me what you saw within Gungren, and perhaps where we stand as far as security. You are the forward scouts. I would hope that our reconnaissance has not failed us."
Oops.
I will. Man, I'm thinking if I can recall this well enough. Who actually keeps the journal?
I've got some notes.
Okay, good. I will look to Tumdrum and say, Master Tumdrum, I believe this would be your field.
Master. All right. Um. I'll. Is there currently a map in here, or didn't Van Hyden have one?
There's very likely one in here. Like I said, this is a command tent, so they probably have one
Okay.
almost like kind of spread out along the table there most times.
All right, so I'll spread out the map, and I'll go over all the exterior parts that we know, like the minor stuff, like where we landed, the hobgoblins that are over there, where we know some drow are to the south, the elf tower in the marshes, and just give them just the very little that we know along the dotted outskirts of the outline.
He'll interrupt you very quickly. What was the numbers of the hobgoblins? Could you repeat that?
I think it was 100.
Our guesses were closer to 200, I think.
Oh, okay.
We were freshly wounded from the crash, from the ships crashing, and even the sea otter itself wasn't seaworthy for a few days after. So we couldn't get an exact count, but we're guessing 200.
Yeah. The Admiral told me something similar, that y'all could have limped along through the shoals to get around to the other side of the island. It didn't turn out too much better, but it would probably be better off than facing off against a few hundred hobgoblin.
Well, we've heard we lost our first losses amongst the survivors that actually made to touch ground, came at the hands of drow, and we communicated with one escapee recluse drow who is no longer with us, but I believe she mentioned a kingdom under the ground over there of did she say 250,000 people?
Yeah, she said about 250,000.
That's the number that I remember. And they claimed the jungles for their own, that were in the area where we landed, and it had spiders doing their will and warning for them. So yeah, our first losses, our first mercenary group that suffered losses, were at the hands of drow raiders.
Do you get the feeling that they would be a threat to this colony since they're right below us? I mean, perhaps not directly, but if they're beneath this island and they have such a vast city, there's no doubt their territory spans out very wide.
We have. I'll show him on the map Gungren, and I'll show him on the map where I believe those drow were. The dwarves are a sworn enemy of the drow, and have been fighting them for, from what we've gathered, centuries. And the town of Gungren, there are roads underneath it that lead to their that lead both to their capital city, Kolbrund, and other cities that we currently don't know of. But they mention these deep roads, and they mention how they're trade roads, and they mention how they have to fight off drow a lot. So if we can get, if we can ever clear out Gungren and have the dwarves return, they will be a much better line of defense versus the drow than we could ever hold for a long time. Because we're talking about 250,000 drow, and drow are extremely adept at killing. I don't think they have any need for above ground land, and since we're in a river delta, I don't see as how there could be much below ground that isn't waterlogged. So I think we're not really a threat where we currently are, but we would definitely be a threat where we first landed.
Very well. As you can see, I brought a small retinue of my own elite guard with me, but I do not feel we'd be able to stand any type of challenge for a force of drow or even hobgoblins as large as you said. Hobgoblins can sometimes range between the training of serfs and sometimes of the strength of elite guard like my own. But there's no reason to risk it, so
In our first days on this island, we were far behind the capabilities of your elite guard.
I do not doubt it. I assume that many of your mercenaries have been lost overboard with the other 3 ships.
And ourselves, the scouts you see in front of you, we've come very far in our abilities since that day, that fateful day.
Fate makes fools of us all, given enough time. But at least you're not dead fools.
Correct. And then I'll start to... So that's the basic outline that we haven't really had a chance to really divulge much in there. We believe the hobgoblins are from... We don't have much information on them, but we do know there's at least 1 or 2 tribes of Equilon above ground between them and getting to the area near Gundren. So I'm not sure. We haven't gone over the orcs yet, but so now in the area where we currently are, we had orcs. They are no longer a problem in this area. I'm not sure about the actual mountains near Gundren where orcs tend to originate in the mountain areas, orcs and ogres, but there were a couple of settlements that we have since taken care of.
Another weapons seem to be magical or of any kind or anything. They don't have silvered weapons. Probably they didn't have the forewarning before they'd already left the port that there would be such dangers. But I think y'all probably have recovered some silver, so you could probably actually start silvering weapons now that y'all got some forge tools.
Okay.
And now getting to more like the immediate threats. We'll go over the orcs that were slaughtered. We'll go over the gnolls and where they originated, and how we were pretty sure that is sealed up.
I don't worry much or overly much over orcs, much less some of these barbarians. Perhaps here in the early few days before we actually get a stone wall built or something to actually kind of protect our grounds. I understand the colony was overrun when they had a wooden palisade that couldn't keep the bastards away, but we'll just have to build higher and better material. If we can get up such walls, a lot of the marauding forces won't be much of a threat to us anymore. If they can't build siege equipment, they can't threaten us. At the same time, I would be more worried about some of the other larger forces around in these parts, besides just the barbarians. Van Heiden's already told me about the peoples who have a kind of mixed blood or are cursed between werewolves and people who call themselves the Men of the Bear. He's spoken of them. But I worry more of civilized folk. You don't believe these dwarves that you've spoken of would have any ill reason to take odds against us, would you?
No, we've taken great steps to get into their good graces. We currently hold the king the would-be king. His father was assassinated and he was a much beloved king. And from the word we've got from them, the assassin was from a rival noble group in the council, and that has since been put to rest. And that they have sent a searching party to try to get to Gungren to save him, and we have made contact with them, and they are trying to make their way out of the deep roads to here, and hopefully, the Thane will regain consciousness, and that should buy us a lot of goodwill with the Dwarven Kingdom.
A dwarven hair is a very, very large bargaining chip with most clans, as they place much value on family, even more than us back in Choso. So, if they hold to any of the same standards, then we should have at least a strong ally in the very near future.
Agreed. There plus, I haven't gotten to that yet. Plus, we made a short stop in their capital city of Colbrand. They have a very vast a lot of riches on display. A very productive town. It looked like they were very productive in trade, and we have a number of their coin from saving what we could through Gungren that could be used in trade to purchase supplies to get us from where we are now to the point where we could actually grow food sustainably ourselves. While we're, we have ways of buying from them. And so Gungren itself, the things that we encountered there, as you see from our friend here, Kalis, the islands here, this new world has creatures and beings we have not witnessed on Chozo. I struggle to think of anything that could compare to what these creatures are. At their base level, imagine a do you know the tales of mermaids? Like the body of a man or a woman, but the tail is actually a fish.
Yeah, sing to sailors and draw them into the depths and feast on their flesh. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, imagine something like that, but a snake back half that allows them to move around like that, and instead of like a human body, but more of a muscular build, monstrosity type body with arms, and is used to maybe standing up kind of straight, but it doesn't have the legs to stand on like the snake part. But its arms actually form, they don't have hands or fingers. It's just one long spike from like the elbow down.
He basically stops, uses one hair, and he kind of flips open like a bit of scroll work and kind of lays out, ink and a quill, and kind of says, here, so you just kind of show me its visage so I can have an idea of what we're up against here, and he'll kind of wait for you to kind of sketch it out a little bit.
I do that, and then I say, so that's their base form.
And different forms?
Well, they range in size from a bear cub to what's like a war elephant. Did we have war elephants on Chozo?
No.
What kind of creature would he realize is the same as that big ass brute?
Maybe like a boulet? like those y'all had those back in Choso, and those were pretty fucking scary.
All right, so you range in size from a bear cub to a belay.
Belay.
Yes, and then as I said, their base form. You know of the elements like the cold, the wind, the fire, and you
To
know
a
how
basic degree.
you know how some weapons and things, some magic users can form that into items. These things have a similar grasp, but of different things. There's there's one that is able to spit acid. There are some of these creatures that can spit acid. What makes them extremely dangerous and strange, and can get from something that may seem manageable to overwhelming in an instant, is these creatures have the ability to say that one that can spit acid, once it gets too near a group of others, those others, when they're within a certain range of this acid spitter, they also gain the ability to spit acid.
It sounds absolutely horrifying.
If one can fly and gets next to some others, they then begin to get the ability to fly.
You're saying they have things the size of boulets that can fly
and spit acid and attack via the mind.
How many are there?
How many have we killed?
If I gave you a number now, it would be 10 higher than that the second I got finished with that number. They emanate as if they had struck a fountain of water in this mountain. They emanate from this hole, and every being and creature that was in Gungren that we saw blood trails going to ways that they could pull down into this pit, and everyone that we slew, they drug its bodies away as we ran away or as we were moving forward. Every body that gets killed in that area, it's dragged to help feed and create the new ones.
It's a war machine that never stops.
Yes.
They flow to us as water. They come in waves. We've probably killed 100 of them.
We've killed dozens, easily 100, and then that comes to the scariest point left of them that I haven't mentioned. They appear to would hive mind mean anything? Would that have existed, or would I have to explain it?
You probably have to explain hive mind. Like, there's the idea of psionics, but
yeah.
The idea that everything is just like constantly sharing information is
So, if one of the slivers sees us, all of the slivers know of our whereabouts and presence. That information gets shared to all of them. It doesn't have to be the ones that are close, like the acid spitting has to be close enough to where they can all spit acid. Once one of their little scouts saw us, and we killed it without it having a chance to make as much as a peep, its sight was somehow shared to the others to immediately know of our presence, our number, and where we were.
They move as easily together as your left hand and your right, and seem to be under one mind.
Dee Dee, have you ever played Magic the Gathering?
Yeah, really.
Would have saved a couple of minutes.
That's true.
No, he hasn't played that card game.
Good clean fun.
He plays Three Dragon Ante then.
Keel's in love.
I hate to be the one who drops this on you, but it is our most dire threat. The good side of this is they appear to not be able to go far as of yet. I don't know if our theory is that if they're able to share that information, there's a boss that is controlling and using that information and guiding all of them. That boss may not be able to move far, and the little ones may not be able to move far away from it. We haven't seen any outside of the actual mountain.
Kale's gonna raise her hand slightly and motion towards Tundra. I've seen them out in the forest beyond Gungren.
Well, shit. How far from Gungren?
I'd say about 2 days.
Two days?
2 days travel, yes, on foot.
We're 2 days from Gungren here.
When I was traveling to Gungren from the
It's
south...
a lot more rough terrain. Like, you guys are going down the road when y'all leave Gungren, so it's not really the same. So, you'd probably think it'd be like, maybe like, when she's saying it's maybe like, maybe 18 or more miles away from Gungren through the actual rough terrain.
Whoa. Well, that's troublesome. They're hunting for flesh to create more, and their closest supply of that would be the drow that's nearby under the deep roads, because we do know that they have taken over some of the deep roads beneath the city. That has been some of the dwarven trade routes, and it's also part of the Underdark that the drow inhabit.
Well, that's a stroke of good luck then. I mean,
yes.
We need to be worried for a while there, but if they're simply going to strike downwards and keep attacking the drow, we might not have quite as much to worry about. We can actually spend some time getting our walls up.
Walls will do nothing against these things, but it's good to have walls. I understand and agree. But if they're still kind of primitive and hunter in mentality, their closest source of food to them would be the drow, and the Equan that are the werewolf Equan are the that are above them. So that's with that there. I do feel we have some sort of buffer at the moment.
Well, we can at least take some time getting our own bearing, and we can actually possibly make a few messages back to the mainland, and hopefully they can send out more ships with more troops on them, since we can at least confirm now that we have a means of getting these ships onto the islands without any risk to losing valuable men. Perhaps we can actually maybe within the next 6 months be able to strike back at them after they've mustered the troops and sent them over the seas to us. But we'll still have to get very much prepared before we can do such a thing. We'd have to have the backbone to support such a large army.
We have been tasked to close the wound in the mountain.
By who?
Actually, 2 different deities.
Deities?
Yes. The fair and great radiant goddess Alondra, who I follow and champion wholeheartedly, which her temple is where the thanks, Adam. Is where the trees are grown in the middle here. It's the temple here is where I first met and heard of her and spoke with her. But also in the city of Gungren, there is a temple to a god the dwarves highly revere, and it's the paladins that are still here guarding the Thane are paladins of Anatar, as well as the leader of the search party that is coming to try and that was going to Gungren to try and rescue him, that is headed this way. There was a temple of Anatar, and we bowed near it and got a vision of the actual wound in the mountain and some sort of being laying at the foot of the door or the entrance to this, and just pulsating evil. It was, and Anatar asked to help close this, and they called it a wound in the mountain. And
disturbing, just very disturbing.
Yes.
I don't think we've even found anything this dangerous back on Choso. Not even the hobgoblins were that much of a threat. I mean, once they were brought under coordinated strikes, but something that can replicate so quickly and also mutate in such a way is...
Yes.
And we'd have to burn them out.
We've dealt with a tendril of Torbane. We've dealt with a devil that calls himself the First Flame. So we've dealt with our share of unholiness. This is a whole new level.
Evil thrives out here in the wild places. If we can, if it's going to be our stake to actually cleanse it, then I suppose we will have to get to work. I would say if our primary threat would be these creatures you've spoken of, then we'll have to prepare to actually, hopefully, cut them off at the root while they're preoccupied with the drow. But that is some time ahead of us. We still have to make sure we do not come under threat of anything else nearby, whether it be the dwarves, even though we have reason to trust them, or any of the nearby kingdoms.
Kale's gonna silently raise her hand.
He'll look to you.
And she's gonna point to Adam, and then, Adam, will you please inform him of what I told you days ago?
Yeah, you're gonna have to refresh me on that.
I hope this is all in character.
Tom Drum will step in and say, I understand what you're meaning, Kalis. I will roll out the other map that is the map that is of all of the different continents.
Okay.
Yes. That the drow woman drew for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I will point to where we are, and I will point to New Dorfus, as that's where Kalith comes from. But this entire area has the storm wall around the entire area, and it was built by a great red dragon, the name of Balehall. He and his descendants how to do this and not piss Kalith off, claim ownership and
Kale's
control.
gonna sharply raise her hand and look at Tundrum a little bit critically.
Go ahead.
And say, Baron, if I may.
Yes, please.
You may.
New Darafas is one of the most technologically advanced kingdoms on the Isles. Given that we are one of the most advanced civilizations, yes, our kind are very prone to ruling over others, and it is not an uncommon practice within my society for my kind to strike out on their own, to seek ownership over others. However, she's going to emphasize the however and look at the Baron a little more critically. I did not come here to do that. My reasons are my own.
I see. It is good that you were perhaps willing to break of your disguise then.
Yes. Now, what Tundrum is trying to say is that in coming days, it is very likely one of my predecessors, whether it is of my family or one of the direct sons of Balha or one of his consorts, will likely come to visit the settlement. It is not an uncommon practice on the Storm Isles. They tend to wish to oversee what's occurring.
I've spoken to some of this with Van Hyden and Admiral, and he'll kind of look to Adam and the rest of the group. Some, you're speaking of an actual dragon will visit this place.
Yes.
Will it wish harm upon us, or what does it want? Is there anything we can give it to make it go away? Is it simply wanting gold?
No, simply lip service does them well enough.
I see.
They wish simply to oversee the kingdoms that are arising within the Storm Isles, and it's not uncommon for them that when they're not paid lip service to, her face is going to twist a little wryly because she doesn't even like what she's saying. Raise settlements to the ground for simply being arrogant.
So they do not ask anything but for us to kneel, is that it?
At this point, I know not. They may want to find out why I am here. But when it comes to that, I will address it then. But I believe with all that's occurring, that your settlement should focus on building itself and proving that they are hardier than they've appeared to be.
I understand. We will deal with this when it becomes an issue, but I believe that it might be something of a good idea. I've heard of your retainers that you keep with you, that perhaps maybe one of them always stay within this camp, so long as you're among our kind and perhaps acting with our scouts. I would hate to have anyone keep an open mind towards possible betrayal if we didn't have some amount of leverage against you. Would this sound acceptable?
That is fine.
Very well. Such collateral tends to put me at ease at night, but
Kayla's gonna grin a little wryly with her teeth showing and go, I'm used to being collateral.
He's gonna nod his head at that. Well, that might mean something if you know of nobility then. And he will kind of point towards the area north of the where y'all are on the islands at the moment, roughly in the origin of the Ku Kingdom. Just point out these ones. Do we have to worry about these? I was actually told that these are not so much like the savages we have running about the place, and that they actually have a kingdom of their own.
Go ahead.
Is Raziel still with us?
He is not.
Or he's returned to the Ku Kingdom, or do we know?
You don't
where he
know.
went? Okay, he's just gone.
We had at one point in Gungren met one of their a citizen of the Ku Kingdom who appeared to be there some sort of treasure raider, taking the opportunity of the attacks to try and go in and get what he could. He had a couple of people under his employ. Those people died. He escaped, and we haven't seen him. Imagine he went back to the Ku Kingdom. They were civilized.
Did Van Hyden describe their appearance to you, Baron?
Not all of them were tieflings.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just.
Haydn did not describe very much. I don't believe he saw any of them with his own eyes.
Correct. We, some of the people we encountered who first inhabited this temple nearby of Alandra were of a cult celebrating this first flame demon that I personally royally pissed off. But it's the kingdom believes it's a sickness that every so often human parents will bore birth to a child who looks much like a demon in the flesh. It's a rare occurrence that they have had happen to some of them, and we happen to meet one of them in Gungren. But from what he was saying, that was a rarity. From the books that we found, the previous inhabitants of the area around the temple that we currently stand were called Valkyrian and went to war with the Ku Kingdom. But I can't exactly discern why, and it may actually be more of the fact that the Valkyrians were a bit more hard-headed over something than they should have been. But they're at least civilized and have some sort of ability to trade and have commerce. They're not like the Equine running around here, nomadic, and have more of a barter system. They do appreciate coinage and trade.
It's something that's good to know. I was worried about such a thing because what I've been thinking and racking my brains over for the past few hours is perhaps looking for where we might be getting any sources of food, because we are in the depths of summer now, and very soon winter will be approaching past fall. So it is something of a thought in my mind as to where we will procure our food to last us not only until we actually begin to get some of our farms going, that if the winters indeed prove to be harsh in these lands, then we might have to find some means by which to trade with these members of the Ku Kingdom and getting our food that way, if they have any surplus.
I don't know about the Ku Kingdom, but the dwarves were very impressed with the craftsmanship and the odd appearance to them of my weapons and armor when I was there, or when we were there, finding out about the king's assassination and finding out about the Dwarven Kingdom. I think we could make great use of a simple forge and feed them mundane weapons for much more than they're worth in Choso.
We'll have to try to get what we can out of such trade. I mean, we have the bargaining chip that is their thane. If we believe what we have, then it might not be so bleak. But I am somewhat entertaining the thought of sending some of you off as diplomats to meet these individuals of the Ku Kingdom.
Yes, and that reminds me, I had heard from the dwarves that one problem with Gungren being down or being overrun is it really interferes with their ability to trade with the Ku Kingdom. So that they had, the dwarves in the Ku Kingdom had encountered and were trade partners. So there's that system exists for trade. So they're at least open to it with some parties. And also, we have the ability, the Equine know how to live off of this land. So whichever seeds we give them, they'll know what they can do with at this time of the season, and
yes,
to prepare for winter. But we couldn't plant over the last 2 months because we had angered a different deity and were under constant rain for a month and a half straight, I believe. Something like 6-7 weeks.
I see. Yes, Van Hyden told me of some of that. He also told me that some of the tales of y'all found in those in the Gunnery, as far as strange metal men and other hints at some of the alchemy they'd been working at. I understand that some of you have gotten a better understanding of such devices and what they've been working towards, but I'd ask that whatever free time you have back at this camp, you assist some of our brighter minds that we brought with us over on the ships to hopefully help us kind of break into this technology as well. It seems due to the savage nature of this place, we'll need every edge we can get. And
yes, the Temple of Elandra has a vast library that would be very helpful. Could potentially be very helpful. And we were able to save some of the books from one of the libraries in Gungren. So that would be there's a lot to read up here that would be both history as well as potentially what the ground can grow and what it's not suited for.
I have one more thing to mention before. Like I've already mentioned that you might be serving as diplomats here very soon, but there is another thing on my mind. As I look among the individuals that have survived the past few months upon the storm isles here and have managed to become something greater than their station and assist in the making of this colony, I would ask even more of some of you and to fill some of the positions so we can actually begin making a settlement out of this attempt at a colonization. The problem with having lost so much within the third wave and the fourth wave also being unprepared is that I find that I did not bring the proper staff with which to run a kingdom, even such a young one. Between the specialists and individuals we have who are artisans and the hardbacks and the soldiers, we find ourselves lacking men who are designed specifically to lead in certain areas. And I would be looking to you to pick out some of the individuals, perhaps even some of yourselves here, to perhaps aid me in the management of this colony. Of course, if you do accept such a responsibility, your rewards will be increased in compensation. Your land will be exponentially larger, and your coffers will be raised as well. But that is each up to you, for you to decide. I would not have you answer me now, but give it a night to think on it and return to me when you have some idea of what you might think you could do for this place and who else you might recommend. Because very soon we are not only going to be in a logistical hell, we're going to be in an administrative hell where we're trying to manage so many things in the air.
The managing that you did on the ships and before you left port of Choso, you must have some inkling of starting a settlement and running a settlement out here. What kind of specialists did they send with you?
The specialists they sent with me were specifically of trying to rule here on the hard lands, farmers, and even though farmers you would think to be very simple folk, um, the kind of farming you'd have to do on an entirely new island that is you don't really know the weather patterns or how the land is like would be incredibly difficult. So a lot of the actual leaders they'd sent with you, you think there wasn't actually any nobility among you, but there were other leaders that had been with you.
Yeah, I'm sure we had been sent with
They had
potential.
basically they basically sent y'all to kind of set up the infrastructure and like getting like tenements and everything built and getting a lighthouse up and something very simple but at least something serviceable within 3 months. And then after everything had been kind of turned around, y'all lost so many in the crossing the storm wall. Then they'd sent basically the reinforcement wave, which is basically people who would help kind of be a booster shot as far as actually getting the colony up on its feet and becoming a veritable force. So it'd be like more of a town guard and more manual labor. They probably have some specialists as far as like farming and artisans as well, but they're not leaders.
Neither am I.
Well, the good thing is in our current position, and especially with the amount of rain we've received, uh, some nearby areas should still be pretty easy to dig and irrigate, and draw irrigation channels and wells from the river banks in and create some sustainable farmland nearby without much trouble.
Very good, but we can plan on the building here on the morrow. I would have y'all go and get your rest. I understand we've been speaking for an hour, at least a few hours here now, and I'm gonna it'd be remiss to strip you of your dinner, and I have more matters to attend to. And we'll speak with you in the morning, and we can perhaps broach the subject of you visiting these individuals in the Coup Kingdom.
Understood. Glad you made it here safely, and good night.
Leave with a salute.
I'm honored by your work. Keep it up, and I will speak with you tomorrow. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Seeing Adam salute, I'll stand up and salute before I leave too.
And Caleb, before you actually leave out through the tent, do you put on your mask again?
Yes, but she's gonna nod her head solemnly to the Baron and walk away.
Okay. He doesn't make any comment. And we'll break there. Take 10 minutes if you need. 10 or 15. And see y'all back in a bit, okay?
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So Weston, you're back?
Yep.
What role were you hoping to fill with leadership?
Oh God, I wrote it down somewhere. Hold on. I believe there was a higher ranking official than me for general. So I think I was
I don't know, general.
I
I was going to say, I think general would be a great fit for you. Run the army.
Yeah, but he'd only Weston would only take it if there wasn't a higher ranking official. It's just the order of things.
I assume there is not. I mean, Baron Drussus is a higher ranking, but at the same time, he would be more fit for a ruler.
Ruler, of course. There was thoughts of Royal Enforcer, but because there's no vacancy penalty, I believe it was more general or marshal. Warden wasn't something that wasn't something that really interests me.
So
I know I'm open for warden.
I've got the leadership roles and the kingdom sheet both shared in the notes. If y'all want to look at those,
Thank you.
it basically tells you which roles are currently available, which is basically all of them except ruler, and some of them don't have a penalty. Obviously, some of them can't really be easily filled unless one of you lovely ladies want to become consort. That'll probably remain empty.
Gil wouldn't mind, but much, maybe, a lot.
Given the Baron's obvious prejudice against the race, I doubt Tana would qualify.
I don't know if he's prejudiced. He just thought it was weird to see an elf here. Elves are pretty rare, right? It might have been nothing.
They're pretty rare. All y'all's colonists that came on the boats, I think the only two y'all have ever seen was Tana and Airdra.
Okay, let's go down the line real quick and just say it doesn't matter if somebody said it already, but say the first one that you want your top choice, and just assume that you have to take a role. I will say general. Tom Drum.
Tom Drum Counselor seems like the best fit.
Tana.
Well, like I said before, Spy Master, except that, I don't know, in character she'd almost have to work under somebody else besides the Baron. Like maybe the Baron's assistant or whatever, because I don't know if he's going to trust her. I guess that would have to be RP'd out, but
Well,
anyway,
we can basically just see what y'all are shooting for, and basically we'll have that approach come in RP and kind of see what he thinks of everyone's choice. But just kind of for right now.
Maybe the Baron doesn't really want to sully his fingers with working directly with the Spy Master. He just wants the information. He doesn't care how it's gotten. So maybe she works with somebody else, and they
that can
work
be
with him.
That could definitely
That's
work out.
That's how we can get around that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just you can report to me. Anyway, Caleb.
For some reason, I don't think Tana would mind that.
I was thinking Joel and Tana would hit it off with the Spy Master bit if they worked together. Maybe. What do you think, Guriel?
I don't think her and Joel have gotten to speak yet, but I imagine perhaps depends on how if Joel pisses Tana off or not.
Grand Diplomat in training. Emphasis on the training.
Speaking of which, like any of these roles y'all don't fill that have a vacancy penalty, you can fill them with NPCs that you know.
Yeah, that's why I just want to knock out the ones that we want first, and then we'll start worrying about those. Okay, Dee Dee.
Warden sounds like the best fit for me. I can use my constitution, and it's the one I'm best at.
I agree. Okay, so that's gonna leave. High
Dee Dee
Priest.
would be a great head cracker.
I'm definitely thinking about switching her alignment from chaotic good to neutral good too, to more fit with her role.
Mm-hmm.
So
Speaking of, what was Caleb again?
Grand Diplomat in Training.
So Tom Drum, Adam, Caleb, Tana, and Dee all have a role. Okay, so it leaves a few. You go and update this.
where
So
they
if you look at the kingdom sheet now, it should have the roles, kind of who's filling what right now.
yes.
Mactaman was going to.
He never stated, but Mactaman was always more. He always claimed that he was more of a combat medic and not a priest so much.
I don't know what else would fit with him though.
That
At the same time, that also kind of goes against itself, since the reason he came to this colony, or the reason he was even sent, is because he was sent there in regards to like the higher ranking of his way, like his establishment of the Church of Soul.
okay. Well,
They sent him there.
I never did get a background on him. I mean, that's not that was between the two of you. So
I don't know. It's just something that was conflicting with what he said, where he would have to pick something. But even though he said, like, he always said he's more of a doctor rather than a priest, he was very much under the service of the priest.
Okay, then I definitely believe High Priest. You guys want to do a vote on that?
I think that sounds the natural.
It
Natural
makes
thing
sense.
you do.
Either
Even if he kind of fought it, the player fought it. I think the character,
Are there now? I know that they had some members of the White, I believe is what it was, on the boats with the Baron. Did any of them stay? Would they maybe be higher ranking?
No, they didn't have any of the members on the boat. They probably had some other doctors that came on as well, but these are just the one. He was one of the ones that kind of got worked into like the third wave.
Okay. Oh my! All right, so let's just ignore the chat and continue on with. Okay. So yeah, let's. I say let's put Mactaman in High
Okay,
Priest.
so we'll go ahead and slot him in the High Priest then. And
Marshall. Let me look back at the role of Marshall. Anybody got any ideas right off the top of their head?
Dexterity or wisdom? That'd almost be good for Mactaman too, right?
For Marshall, I was thinking it fits Dee Dee better, but if she's wanting to go to neutral good,
Dexterity or wisdom?
no, it doesn't. That doesn't matter a thing to me. I'm looking at it as in character, being at more remote parts of the settlement and having to deal with patrols. You're a barbarian. Enforcing laws within a settlement just doesn't seem to line up to me.
Patrolling settlement instead would?
Patrolling the more remote parts and not being around a lot of people, because it's a different thing. But if you're switching from chaotic good to neutral good, maybe being in our group, maybe you've kind of tamed down a little bit. I don't know.
just
I
seeing
always
some.
kind of express the idea that even though, like, even if you have the class that you take as barbarian, it doesn't actually mean you have to be a barbarian. Like, even in another campaign I'm playing right now, I'm playing actually under a DM where my character is a soldier. He's actually a civilized soldier who just fights like one of the barbarians. Like he just doesn't.
Wages and stuff.
He's a very mercenary type guy at this point where he doesn't really do fightery stuff. He just doesn't wear armor and just goes in with a broadsword and just doesn't give a shit.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
At the same time,
remember
like,
Weston
just
was
in the same way a warlock doesn't always mean someone's curling a mustache and trying to plot the downfall of all the world. There is some kind of gray areas.
also with Marshall has no penalty, whereas Warden does.
Marshall does have a penalty, but anyway.
Let me double check.
Oh yeah.
economy
Well,
decreases by
it
4.
does on
Never
his
mind.
on his sheet. It may not have it on the other one.
No,
does.
Marshall does have a penalty if you don't fill it.
Yeah, but whichever one you don't get, I think Van Hyden can handle.
That's what I was thinking as well.
I mean, we've got NPCs that we can put into these things that have vacancy penalties.
If I had to pick, I'd take Warden.
I understand. I figured you would. It just doesn't. Anyway. And like he said, barbarian doesn't mean barbarian. I'm just glad you're not royal enforcer, because I don't want someone who has fits of rage being able to grant civilians the authority to kill in the name of the law.
Yeah, I was thinking of that role for Kale, but she has battle trance, and that's pretty much a rage, so no.
Well, if I want to put it out to y'all still have other and you have other NPCs who could possibly fill this role. I mean, there's to look at people who are considered both dexterous and possibly wise. There's Mako. There is possibly Airdra. I think there's also some of the level 1 guys you also have running around, which is like Drevnik Deep Iron, one of the dwarves, who kind of help y'all forge a place on the land. I think also Joel, he's also something of a wise guy, but he actually doesn't. He would probably not fit the idea of a warden.
Yeah, he's more of a kiss ass than a warden.
He doesn't like to go without his baths, so.
I forgot about Mako, honestly.
I wouldn't want to ask her to do anything, because she made it clear that she was very worried that Chozo would come and take over and not be so pleasant in doing so, and that she is very much on the Briarhoof Equilon side of things now, and if they don't want to stay, I'm not going to force the Equilon to stay, or I'm not going to ask the Baron to force them to stay if they want to leave. So I couldn't ask Mako to take a position and have that come up as some sort of conflict later on. So I would push to, if we have to have somebody, someone else.
Well, I don't think. I mean, we can't, in character, we shouldn't be pushing anybody. That's just Tana's opinion. Everybody needs to take on a role. If they are going to take on a role, they should want to do it, because otherwise they're just going to do a shit job. And
yeah, push may have been the wrong word. Promote is probably not promote. God damn it, what's the word? Nominate.
How good is Joel with math?
Not nearly as good as Thal.
Damn it. Yeah, I was gonna suggest Thal as the treasurer, or Joel or Thal.
And in character, it's one thing for you to be one of these, but is this crew of yours going to stay? Do we even know them?
First off, the Baron requested that one of her retainers stay, and it would probably be in the benefit and politically. I'm trying to think of the right word.
Fitting?
Yes, that one of her retainers possibly works as a cross service to the Baron.
Fair enough.
Something is a more delicate way of having a hostage.
Yes.
Yeah, but Treasury may not be the spot to put them, but I understand. And hey, if whenever Millie feels comfortable visiting the temple, I'll be sure to show her around. Or if she doesn't want me around, that's fine.
That's up to Riazol, because Millie's his NPC.
Well, Millie is just one of your retainers. I just honestly, because of all this stuff, the other stuff's been going on, I just got forgotten like the rest of you guys. We can have that kind of have come up here soon though. Because I think it probably would be, yeah, we could probably have happened the night of y'all meeting the Baron if y'all wanted.
Richtofen would make a great magister, wouldn't he?
He's pretty smart.
No.
He's intelligent at least. What does a magister require?
Charisma
Or intelligence. But he's the guy from Two Kingdom that we don't know where he went.
You're talking
No,
about
that's
Raziel.
Oh. My bad.
Richtofen is the wizard that came with y'all.
Richtofen's the one that identifies for us.
Yeah, that could work.
I could see that. That'd be good.
Okay, I'll put him in as magister.
That revolving door is just, it's hard to figure out who's what.
Unless, because technically, like you just said that you didn't want the treasury to be ran by one of the retainers. So it'd probably maybe behoove you to put Richtofen as a treasurer then.
That works. It's just like you said, if you're having, if it's somebody you kind of only barely trust, but you want to put in a position, I don't see treasury as where you would put someone you're trying to have a little bit of, back and forth with,
Just when you drive in at the security guard, just drive straight back, and building A, we're in the bottom right corner.
Richtofan's pretty good with his numbers. He's pretty good.
You'll drive straight into the building.
He walked away with a +4 when he was with you guys.
Wow.
Yep. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Where do you see Richtofen fitting Tundra? Because he should definitely have a role.
Like you said, treasury works good. I agree, magister would work good as well, but that also works. It's just a better in character. Put one of the Kalis consorts in one of these roles. It's just as treasurer.
It's understandable. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
I think it's over and done with.
I am sorry.
Okay, so yeah, let's put Richtofen as treasurer, and then who are we placing in magister, Caleb?
I think it was Thal that she was thinking.
No, Richtofen's going into the treasurer. It's all good.
Right.
No,
Who did you want to
magister.
appoint as magister?
Yeah, I believe we were going to put one of those as one of yours. I'm just not familiar with the people, with the two, so. Three. It should be 2 pizzas and 3 boxes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Caleb, are you there?
What's up?
Did you hear Adam or Didi? I think they asked you.
What did they ask?
Sorry,
Who did you?
we were
did
asking
you
which
wanna
of your
appoint as
retainers.
magister?
Yes, exactly. My apologies.
No, I don't know anyone to appoint as magister.
What class is Thal? Or what stat is he strong with?
I would say wisdom is his strongest stat.
Oh, okay. How about as a marshal?
Well, Thal's crippled, so he can't really enforce laws physically.
I whispered you would be aware of what their major strong points are.
Yeah, and Marshall's the one who would have to go out into the more remote places, so that's not good for him.
It's not like he's got to walk everywhere.
Well,
yeah,
right now you don't have a lot of remote places to actually go to at the moment. You don't have a very big kingdom.
Understood.
Y'all's kingdom currently is all of 6 miles. Did you receive that whisper, Caleb?
Yep. Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks, Rio.
Mm-hmm. And Millie would not be strong as far as any mental faculty, but she would be strong as far as like strength and dexterity.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Or an observation. A spy master, I mean, usually on the, when, let's say everybody's walking into the end of the year banquet and they all get introduced, the high priest is Mactaman, the ruler is Baron, and does Tana walk in and they go, okay, this is the spy master?
Probably not.
Or
Think up a better title.
Is that a job that really needs to be hidden except from her direct superiors or just a few very tight, council members or whatever?
You probably wouldn't be walked around and introduced as a spy master. No, you wouldn't. Okay. You're not like someone who has to go to the royal balls and be there in attendance as far as like being up at the table and everything.
So my question is, could her legitimate job, the one that everybody knows, be marshal? Because she's used to traveling, she's used to going in remote parts. If it'd be more of the kind of thing rather than wouldn't be a hands-on marshal, but a delegating marshal who, has her circle of people under her that do the actual things, and she just kind of travels between them, which she would be doing anyway as a spy master because she has to contact all her spies.
I'd definitely rather see you as a marshal than the other Dragonborn.
It would work as far as if you want to pick marshal instead of spy master, you can, but y'all will need to find someone who can fill the spot as spy master.
No, I'm talking about being both.
You can only fill one role.
Okay. And I know what you mean by having the other as your cover.
Right.
I think with the elf tension already there, I think you can get away with them saying, well, he didn't give her a position because of the whole elf thing.
Yeah, true.
So other people won't worry about why you don't have a position and everybody else in the group does.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like we can come out and say spy master, head of the CIA, or, Department of the Interior.
The person we send people to for waterboarding.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
I was just trying to solve the issue of filling up roles with,
and I like the idea of having a cover role. That's pretty cool. But
yeah.
Question.
Super spy?
Yes, Ms. Kayla?
Since you mentioned or in IC with the Baron that there was 60 elite guard, isn't there anyone NPC-wise among the elite guard that fit the marshal role?
Possibly yes, but they would probably come with like a +2 modifier. So
Okay.
they'd probably be one of the lowest ones. So it'd be someone to fill it, but it'd basically just be some random guy they picked out who, probably wasn't anything stellar as far as leadership was concerned. But he could probably run like a squad of guards, but running an entire like marshaling thing, he'd probably have to get used to that.
So, where's all this hate? Yeah, where's all this hate for a +2 modifier, man? That's all I've got in anything.
Oh, yeah, Tumdrum about that.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know what? It's not the size of the modifier. It's the motion of the ocean. It's okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but it takes a long time to get to Choso in a rowboat.
That needs to be needle pointed.
Yeah, but if you're having a fun trip, who wants it to end fast? So, let it take a long time. But, a jack of all trades, such as a bard / paladin, doesn't have more than a +2 in anything.
Yeah.
At level 10.
Paladin's, Tumdrum, he's been kind of stretched in all kinds of different directions. He's been trying to fill out this group. Like, okay, well, we're lacking, a wizard type, so we're gonna pick that up. And then, I'm lacking, we're lacking healing now, so now you get to be a Healy Paladin here soon, Tumdrum.
Yeah, it was all over the place. I started off our first fight. Nobody wanted to engage hand to hand. So when we found those goblins, I was the one who, it was like, I got a plan. I jump out and surprise them by being the target for their surprise attack.
Everyone was surprised.
Exactly. So I was the one who was actually the front line, taking all the blows and dodging. So and then we couldn't have a caster, so I started casting and flame bolt or whatever.
There was a time where really all you did was de-pants people.
That was a fun time.
Wait, he was de-pantsing opponents?
He honestly was.
I used Mage Hand to pull their pants down and also pull all the arrows out of their quiver, so when they went to reload with their bow, they didn't have any arrows to shoot at us anymore.
I'd snog you if I could. That is very ingenuitive.
Thank you very much.
Oh, God. Stop that. Well, besides that, I think y'all are kind of.
But Rio, to be fair, you went into graphic detail about that zombie's dong for Tana.
That's true. Yes, yeah, you did. You had. It's like you had that ready.
Well, you know what? He had rigor mortis, so.
Tana's observant. He had.
Oh my god.
I'm almost glad I wasn't with the party then.
Yeah,
imagine that was like session 1 or 2.
Yeah, you got to think about it. Like we didn't know each other like we do now. So I mean,
yes, it was.
We really got.
Odd.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, if we want to go back to that, the first adventure, kind of have a retelling of the flaccid zombie dong, we can.
Sounds like the perfect name for my next record.
It's my garage band. Flaccid zombie dong.
That's my new Tea Party political action committee.
You wouldn't be half as crazy as the rest.
This ad gladly sponsored by
Flaccid
Zombie Dong PAC.
Oh, no. It needs to be Flaccid Acid Z. It's cooler.
All right.
Okay,
anyway.
So do we have to have all these roles right now filled? Could we, even in a group, they, kind of wander around, talk to different, maybe there's a guild master or something that we haven't really RP'd with, but he's still an NPC, part of the, the master farmer or something, that could fill some of these.
Whatever happened to that, the gnome wizard Did he leave or?
He does
he's
not
still-
exist.
Okay.
Yeah, he got blowed up.
He got fucking deleted.
Yeah.
Like Raziel. Okay.
Brazil is not deleted.
No, this guy was like, fuck him. You see him running out into the savannah, and then a fireball explosion happens on his face.
Yeah, and then lions.
And then lions.
And then Flash.
I just heard that he was talking to the Drow in Infernal or something, and then he was gone.
You know. Sometimes gnomes are there, sometimes they leave. Gnomes are a elusive and not entirely understood race, and perhaps they should disappear from the world. Who knows?
Fair enough, fair enough.
You just said fair enough to genocide, but okay.
Look, I am the impartial DM. It's just a fact in this homebrew world that all new, all new gnomes that spawn into the world tend to spawn, 1,000 feet up in the air and at level 1. So, what can you do?
All right. So, let's get back to this.
Yeah. So currently, what you asked about the rolls, there are some that basically have no penalty, which you don't have to worry about. There are some that there's 2 y'all missing right now that do have a penalty, but y'all won't actually be taxed on having these not filled until Larvion. Y'all are currently in the kind of the 3rd week of Nim, but y'all have until if you don't have all the spots filled by the end of Larvion, which is the next month, then that is when y'all will have to suffer that penalty, and that's when we're actually going to be rolling up the kingdom stuff, and build points will be spent. And
I'm sorry, did you say the end of the next month?
by the end of Larvion, whenever if all of these slots that have a penalty to them, if they're not filled, then y'all take the penalty for them. So that's basically what happens over the next on the next month. We're actually going to be doing spending the build points and doing everything.
We got 6 weeks. We're good.
So technically, yeah, you have 6 weeks in game time, but Ben Hayden, he'd be a decent marshal, I think. Let me look at him.
I was actually originally thinking Van Huyden for marshal.
And what the cleric of salt, Adra?
Erga, yeah.
Would she be willing to be magister?
Let me see.
If none of Kayla's entourage is a fit, like she mentioned.
Erga would probably not be a good fit for Magister. Magister requires either intelligence or charisma, which is not something most clerics have.
Do we really want a follower of Salt teaching our youth?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
There's nothing wrong with salt.
He points at her with his left hand.
Well done.
Oops, phantom pains.
I'm sure there's somebody who.
As far as marshal, she'd make a pretty good marshal. She has the wisdom for it. And as a cleric of salt, she probably wouldn't mind being out on her own.
I like that idea.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's
if
true.
that's we'll let them.
Not to mention she's an elf, so
Yes,
Okay.
perfect for Marshall. Go, go, go.
That sounds great. If she wants it.
I'd say she wouldn't refuse it. But I will also go ahead and admit, whenever y'all put like characters like Richtofen and all these other Mactman and all these other NPCs, like y'all will all have your own things that will pop up over the course of the kind of filling in these roles and doing stuff. It would make sense that it would also be happening to these other NPCs as well. So I'm just kind of keep that in mind whenever you're kind of looking at characters of like you happen to come back across the Drow again and say, you know what, she'd make a very good Magister. Let's throw her in there. There will always be like stuff you have to. There'll be always other kind of things from outside that will possibly tamper with stuff.
Okay, and then. Well, so we still need Magister.
Tumdrum, you'd rather have Van Hyden for Marshal than Airdra? Yeah?
No. I said that before we looked at Airdra because I was thinking
okay,
Airdra for Magister. Whichever of them it feels good doing it. If she'd rather be Marshal, that's perfect. I think Van Hyden, with a lot of nobility and military and order here, will just fit in wherever he fits in his current rank. If he doesn't want to take a position, that's fine. If I remember reading right, he had kind of halfway retired before doing this, so he may not want to go out and do much.
He would probably be, from what you would understand from him, he'd probably be okay with being a viceroy, or overseeing smaller settlements in that way. But the thing is that y'all already have y'all are still starting bare bones at the moment, so you can't really do that.
We don't really have a need to put in
like
a
he's
viceroy
worked in like
Cold
small
Run
towns before, but
Yeah.
He's not going to step on the Baron's toes.
And maybe there's an NPC in this wave that would be good as a Magister, or maybe the Baron can recommend somebody, or we'll find that out eventually.
So as far as like what y'all have at the moment, as far as NPCs, I don't think y'all have a lot of highly intelligent or charismatic people who aren't taken at the moment, besides Thal. Like Thal,
For
he has a
Magister?
lot of intelligence, but of all the other characters, I don't think y'all have anyone who has a high intelligence or a very high charisma. Y'all have a lot of clerics among you, who are just high wisdom guys.
That's understandable, and like you said, we have a month and a half to nail that down, so...
Well, yep, you do.
But remember that we've already gone through how many weeks tonight?
Just know
3 hours.
that whoever is going to be filling that role, they have to be filling it for a week for y'all to actually get the bonus out of it and not suffer their penalty.
Right.
That is actually my next point once we move past this.
Sorry, someone's mic's open.
I'm sorry.
What did you ask, Adam?
No. I was just saying once we are we officially done with this list for now? We'll come back to the Magister.
It seems like it.
Okay.
Seems like we're done.
Do we as a group, out of character for this portion, do we want to set a week of the month that we're going to aim? Obviously, there will be times where we will be out scouting and be more than a few days travel away. But do we want to set first, second, third, or fourth week as our town week, knowing that we have to make it back for this time?
And just letting y'all know also, it doesn't have to be a full straight consecutive week. It can be split up among the month. Like you're here 2 days, you leave, back for a couple days, you leave, you come back for one more day, and then that's
That's great.
close enough.
That's fantastic.
We could do a week in town, say, and then leave for 6 weeks, and then do another week in town? 7 weeks?
No, we have to be in at least
That wouldn't
once,
work?
once
Well,
a month.
depending on how it lined up in the month, that may work. But
Yeah, if you're talking about like the middle of the month, like where you do that and then you go off for like
Off on a long journey to Cold
if you go
River
off for
or
like maybe
whatever.
4 weeks, you could possibly do that. If it's like 6 weeks, there's some point you're probably gonna miss it.
Pushing it. Alright.
I say we keep it fluid depending on the circumstances, but we just know we need to spend a week.
Okay.
Yeah, if y'all end up just getting captured somewhere and just having to be nailed down in one place for like 2 months, then the kingdom will suffer. Is what that basically means.
So I guess we discussed this that night, and we would talk to the Baron the next morning. But you wanted
Yes,
to do
but-
something else that night.
This night, did y'all want to do this stuff with taking Millie to see?
Yes, let's do this.
Alright, I will be out of that one.
Okay.
Okay, so Millie would probably be back at whichever tent that Caleb had and probably would be hanging out there. So, Caleb, we'll start with you.
This is happening the night after the meeting?
Yes, with the Baron.
Okay, what time of night is it right now?
It'll probably be into the late afternoon, so about like 5 or 6.
Okay. Kale's gonna stride into her tent and see if Millie's there. Oh, my brain just shut down. I'm sorry. Yeah. Millie!
She kind of rises from having basically taken some of the tools that have been brought in from the ships. She'd had some allocated to actually getting a second set of our armor kind of set up. So she basically kind of turns to attention and kind of takes a kind of at attention kind of stance and just kind of looks at Caleb expectantly.
Can I interrupt real quick? Is there some place where, because other than the mention of each one in the adventure log, I don't know what these are. I mean, I don't even know, is Millie human or?
Millie is Valkyrian.
Oh, okay.
I tried to think. I think I tried to like say something about it at the beginning that she has 3 retainers because her character took the noble background.
Right.
So she took the option to have retainers, and the 3 retainers she has is a fellow Dragonborn, a Valkyrian, and a human. All of which are from her place back on New Darfos.
The Valkyrian apparently wields short swords.
Yes.
At ease, Millie. You needn't act that way around me.
She simply nods, but you kind of get the idea that she's still pretty much on edge around this place. Not quite as much as she was in the first few days, but still very like hyper aware. And she'll just kind of relax and kind of go back to what she was actually doing, since it didn't seem like Kenneth had any further orders.
The dwarf Tundrum wishes to see you this evening. Will you be alright with that?
There's a few moments of pause before Millie kind of nods her head and says, yes. I'll do as you wish.
Alright, Kale's gonna leave Millie there, and then she's gonna go and try to find Tundrum in the camp. Where's Tundrum right now?
Probably entertaining folks who are eating. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Tundrum. You can tell, even though she's in human form, she's rather tense because she's not quite sure how to be at ease herself. And there's a dissonance occurring where she's trying to act her noble stature, but being around everyone, it's the culture shock is starting to set in. Are you up for entering the temple this evening with Millie to greet this? And she pauses, trying to remember the name of the person or
Sure.
deity.
Yeah. If she's ready to go, I can do that.
She's still on edge, but I'd like
That's understandable.
But given Baron Druce's mention of some of us traveling north to the Ku Kingdom, this may be our only chance before we're sent elsewhere.
Understood. That makes sense. If you guys will excuse me, I'm glad you all were able to make it here safe. enjoy this ale and mushroom wine, courtesy of the no longer living residents of Gungren.
There's a slight chuckle that's almost morbid in its kind of, and its kind of response is a little bit dark, but some of the stuff kind of return the same kind of to the dead asses at Gungren. And you'll even see like a couple of the guys will actually tip their cups a little bit and pour out a little bit of the drink, just a little bit onto the ground.
Yeah.
As a way of kind of
you're wasting it, man.
Honor
I
and
gotcha.
fallen.
Kale just thinks to herself that the folks here are just a little touched and special in the head at this time.
Bless their hearts.
The men have been at sea for a long time and half rations the last little bit. Comfort is hard to come by, and they feared for their own lives a handful of times. So, and they know that it's not safe here either. So,
Quite
get
true,
a little
quite
bit of
true.
enjoyment when you can.
Well, I'm going to pass on the mushroom wine.
Oh, understandable.
For now, I prefer to be sober before walking into a
Understood.
place of worship. Just let me know whenever you're ready this evening. And...
Oh yeah, I'm following you. I was just bidding them farewell. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. She's gonna take Tundrum to get Millie and I guess head towards the temple.
Millie will be is she ready? She won't be, and like at this point she hasn't been armored up or like having weapons on her at this point, just because it's tends to just put people like on edge. There's not really any of the colonists really run around with weapons on. Like some of the mercenaries do, but that's basically their job. They're guards. But since Millie isn't really looked at that way, she's mostly just tried to stay under the radar as much as possible. You figure, knowing her, she probably has some knives on her and stuff, but she is basically like, doffed any armor and is basically just walking around in very plain tunic and clothes. Like, looks more like footman's gear as far as like, servants stuff. And she will kind of be ready and just kind of standing in the middle of the tent very awkwardly whenever Kelly arrives, and she will kind of almost immediately kind of follow her back right outside the tent. And y'all kind of lead her the way towards the temple, and the temple that does look a lot different from the past few days when y'all actually came here over the past couple of weeks. It has grown very much. So I think it was described a little bit earlier where the trees had actually started to grow together, and they're kind of curving inwards, kind of covering where the stone had basically fallen apart. So there's only like one bit of wall that had basically been there, but the stone is basically getting absorbed by these by this wood, and where they had actually put the stone up as far as like to kind of make windows, that's mostly still there, but it's still kind of curving out now where they kind of all like the tops of the trees have met. You can see they're kind of spreading in on each other, and you think that it's basically gonna start doing as trees do and kind of blowing outwards and kind of going up. So you don't think that the temple's quite going to be just a single floor thing. You think it'll probably have spread out more and have kind of more rooms as it goes up higher in the floors.
Awesome.
So, but besides that, y'all kind of walk into like the front opening of all these bunch of trees, and they don't really have a door that's fit onto it quite at the moment, but it's quite spacious, so you're able to just kind of walk right on in and go to these stairs that lead down, and that's all much the same as y'all had left at, just stone stairs leading down, kind of curves a bit, and you meet the double doors that are at the bottom of the landing. It's basically like a small kind of room that kind of sections it off from the stairs, and you can kind of see that the double doors are open right up to the altar, where there are the murals upon the wall that show the depictions of Valkyrian flying and possibly of wars long past. You don't imagine they would be of the Coup Kingdom. You don't really see anything in the way of demons so much. Most of what you see is a mixture of undead diving down from a great wall. A Valkyrian diving down upon undead from a great wall made of black stone, and has depictions of like an island out in the sea that kind of rises up with a castle at the very top, and there's a large amount they could probably pull from these murals. But at the very center, of course, is a another Valkyrian statue that has a kind of not so like there's a lot of the other busts and statues that are around the place that are very clearly carved and meant to look like there's someone's very specific. They have plaques on them as far as names, but the actual altar itself seems to be a little bit more vague. Like it's not so much representing a singular person, but perhaps a line of people or a symbol. And there is, of course, the altar which has, the book upon it, the prayer book that y'all used quite a while back to banish the demon Agrippa. Specifically, he's actually a devil, but there is also, before the altar, is a great bowl of fire, and possibly Tundra will be kind of shaken back a bit towards, the strange dreams he's been having, and kind of checking his connection again to everything, and kind of having that paranoia kind of come back to him, and kind of feeling relief as he reaches the bottom of the stairs and sees it still kind of crackling in the middle of that empty bowl. And the Valkyrian just seems to look among the walls as y'all make your way in, but she doesn't seem to make any immediate comment.
Kale's taking a look at the walls too, and and then she's gonna look to Tundra and go, well, have you discerned anything from carved here?
This temple was built by the Valkyrian in service to the radiant goddess Elandra. There's a library through these doors here on the left, a little bit ways, and there a massive library of books I can't read without magical help. And from what little I know is the Valkyrians that were here waged a unsuccessful war against the Coup Kingdom hundreds of years ago, and apparently drew enough ire of the Coup Kingdom, or were so desperate in their battle against the Coup Kingdom that apparently none from this area survived. But you're free to take as long as you want. I'll sit down over here and get out of the way. If she wants to commune with Elandra, I will gladly prove to her that the fire in the bowl is not one that will burn, but you are to put your hand within that fire, and you're able to open up a line of communication to Elandra. But I'm here for any questions you have, but I'm just going to get out of the way and let you and her process this at your own time.
All right. I know very little of the Valkyrie, and I will admit they are of an interest to me, given, and she's going to motion to Millie. She was given to me as a gift, you might say. The Valkyrie that is among our race are often, and there's a slight undertone of disgust in her voice, kept as pets.
We're from a different society, and I hear the disgust in your voice there, so I can tell it's something you're not exactly proud of your society doing. Your traditions are not ours. They're handed down to us, so we can't claim ownership of them. Uh, uh, I don't. I mentioned the books in the library. I don't know if it's a language she can even read, because it's. I mean, it's not like all Valkyrian are born with ability to read that language. I won't imagine. I mean, I couldn't speak Common when I was born. It was taught, so this could be a dead language to her as well. It's just, but there are many books here that were by them. That if you're more interested in the Valkyrian, the library would have much more information on that, and I'm sure you know of spells that would allow you to read the language and learn more.
Kale's going to nod her head slowly, but it's clear she's thinking.
Kayla, if you would know that it's very unlikely that she knows anything as far as like the Valkyrian language. Mm-hmm. She would have likely been too young, because most Valkyrian that are too old and that probably actually already know the language are also probably too old for conditioning, and they wouldn't have allowed one such as that to actually be around, even as a pet.
Aye.
So probably too young to know a language. Besides that, though,
and I will tell them of other statues that are also in the area. I don't know if the fountain room has more murals. I don't know if the library has more murals, but I'll describe the rest of the area to them if they wanted to walk and see anything else.
She's gonna do that because she is very interested in the architecture.
Millie will simply kind of, after Kid kind of relays some of the stuff that Tumdrum has said, she'll probably go in front of the altar and spend some time just kind of looking around at the murals, and probably move around towards the book and trying to open up the actual book and look inside it. Just kind of generally trying to piece together this place that she's kind of been kind of told to come into. She doesn't need to put her hand quite in the fire at this point, though. And I guess y'all walk off to go and kind of look about the actual temple itself, and probably do y'all go down lower towards any lower floors, or?
I wouldn't go too far and leave Millie alone, and if she seems uncomfortable, even though I don't think I can communicate directly to her. But I don't think we would. If we're going down floors, we would all go down at the same time.
Yeah, I agree with Tundrum.
Okay.
She's curious about the statues and wanting to know a little more if Tundrum knows anything.
The room to the left has a fountain, and it produces good, clean water. And then to the, that is the way to the library. So there may be some statues over there and stuff I'll show, murals or whatever, too.
Okay, so y'all spend some time kind of looking about and just kind of, showing Kayla what y'all have kind of unearthed in this temple. And Millie does eventually kind of stick her hand in the fire. You don't see any kind of immediate reaction to any of it, but she, almost opposite, she begins to kind of move about the actual room and looking at the actual murals again. And you're not maybe sure if she didn't actually get in contact, or perhaps there's something else happened, but she continues to just kind of look about the room.
Maybe she's getting a guided tour from Alejandra.
Kale's gonna look at Millie and go, are you alright?
This temple stands alone. Why would the Valkyrian, if they have a house of worship, why would they place it out on its own? There's no other buildings out here. Why?
Kale's gonna translate what Millie said to Tundra, because what Millie said did have a point, and it's provoking some thought in Kale.
That is a good question. We found some ruins outside, but it.
Shut up, Dana.
But it wasn't the ruins of a city. It wasn't enough of a ruins to be of a city outside. I haven't learned the answer to that. And I may be remembering this wrong. If I speak falsely, I do apologize. It's not from intent. It's from inability to remember correctly. And I can ask Alondra this again after I'm finished to make sure it's right. I believe to the west of here lies a city, or the ruins of a city that was more of the Valkyrians' place where they lived. That is currently under the Equilon, the Men of the Bear, who may or may not be werebears, claim and live, and they're supposedly pretty territorial. So we haven't went over there because it hadn't wanted to pick a fight, because it's not one we think we would win, and they haven't fought us yet. So I don't like going around and just slaughtering things just to slaughter things. But apparently, this was built outside of the city as some place to go as a pilgrimage, and maybe this place was somehow.
You're echoing.
Through who? Through Eden, it seems.
I muted her.
Okay.
I'll mute her in a second.
And this place was for some sort of pilgrimage, and was, I guess, built on a. That's no problem. Built on something, or some sort of connection to Alondra that they couldn't get elsewhere. But that's a good question. Maybe I ought to ask Alondra, and I will go and ask and make sure that everything I've said is either correct, or if it's not, I can tell them that I got it wrong. I don't want to lie to them. That's what I think I remember.
Eden says sorry, a key jammed. She's ready to be unmuted, I think.
There you go, Eden.
Thank you, Rio.
I just like gagging you, you know.
Really?
Keep the
really?
out of this.
Alondra said that I was partially correct. It is a temple, but it is also a graveyard and a barracks for to stand against what spews from the throat of Torbane. You weren't here for that, but down south of here, there's a massive hole in the ground. Almost said earth. In the ground.
Hole in the bastion.
Yes. That we earlier had to fight against many gnolls that were emanating from it. It was, I believe Magdaman called it a spawning pool. And there was so much evil magics going on that we were able to destroy some sort of circle that was a thing from Torbane that allowed these gnolls and even other worse creatures and demons and devils access to walk the bastion. And that's why we've had so many gnolls on the pikes around here, is they emanated from there. And apparently this hole and threat has been there for ages, and that this was a place set to protect the more the settlement further west. This was a safeguard.
So essentially extraplanar issues. Kale seems concerned by what Tundram has said, and she's going to stop and be quiet for a little while, as if still thinking it over because she's a little slow on the uptake.
Torbane must have something there that allows him to continue to emanate from that place where he can touch. We did notice earlier some ruins around that hole, but the hole had gotten bigger when we noticed it was a spawning pool. So maybe they had built some sort of small guardhouse there that has been lost to time as well.
Y'all had seen some of the walls that had been around it, but most of them have collapsed down or rubble piles by this point.
Right.
But anyways, Millie will kind of stand about for a bit and kind of looking through the murals, and y'all will eventually kind of see her eventually just kind of go quiet, and you kind of see the idea that she's not really searching the murals quite anymore, but she's kind of has a 1,000-yard stare thing kind of going on, and she does eventually come back to Caleb, and she says very simply, very curtly, I would like to leave.
Not a problem.
Kale's gonna nod her head, and let's just consider this as a step forward. It's something to consider while we're
if
here.
either of you want to make an insight check, you can.
Alright.
Yeah, I guess I will. I don't know if I want to, but...
Tundram, you don't really get too much. It's probably just because you don't have a very good grasp on this Valkyrian as a whole. There's a language barrier, not to mention, but almost as a person, they seem like very closed off. Kaleth, you'll get more, which I'll whisper to you, but besides that, yep, she just very curt and just very to the point. She would just like to leave now.
Sorry, quick question. Millie speaks to Caleth in Draconic?
No, it would be common for the storm owls.
And once Kayla, says that she wants to leave, I'll gladly help and escort them out. And say, it must have been jarring, but thank you for being open enough to at least give it a shot. I hope this wasn't too troublesome for you. And uh, if it is, and you have trouble sleeping, um, our good friend Magdaman has something called Sleep Suite that may be able to help you if you're unable to put your mind at ease tonight. I apologize if it's a bit shocking or whatever. I'm having trouble with the words right now. I apologize.
Keyleth is gonna look between Tundrum and Millie, and her face is showing signs of concern. I want to thank you for the tour, Tundrum. I am very appreciative of what you have shown me. It's enlightening and interesting. I've never seen anything of this sort on New Darfos.
If you or any of your retainers would like to borrow any of the books from the temple, just let me know, and I'll get it to you or whatever.
By the way, Caleb, I'm assuming you haven't touched the fire or anything like that.
No, she hasn't.
Okay.
She doesn't want to perturb the. It's her place of religion. That.
Understood. Okay, so y'all continue out of the temple. Millie doesn't really seem to have any kind of change of composure, and I guess if y'all want, you can separate ways. But Millie gets basically kind of heads back towards the tent.
Yeah, I would let them go on their own so they can communicate, and I would go back and talk to Alondra and say thank you for setting me right on that. I apologize for not remembering that, and I know this must have been shocking for Millie, but I hope it can help you or her or us all. And, but thank you again for your kindness and your light and your everything. Good day.
Eden is so silent.
Kale went off with Millie because of how Millie is, and she's going to stay with her for the rest of the night.
Okay. Is there anything else y'all want to do before y'all meet the Baron in the morning?
Yeah, I may not have said it. I wasn't talking to Kaelith at the end. I was going back to Alondra and saying that to Alondra.
Alondra, she would reply.
And that would be it for me tonight, except I would try and take a heavier dose of Sleep Suite from Magdaman. Yeah, okay. It's just happening in whispers. It's understandable. It's not often this quiet. But while Rio was typing, he was asking if you were wanting to do anything else tonight before you went to sleep.
By Ria Soul. Ria Soul moved to McAction's writing corner.
Oh, well, he's done moved to a different room. Yeah. So, we're about finished up for the night. We're going to go meet the Baron in the morning. So if you had anything else you wanted to do before going to sleep tonight, he's going to ask you for that when he gets back or shortly thereafter.
Okay. 500 push-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, and another 500 push-ups.
847. 848. Oh, I didn't see you standing there. How's it going?
Sun rises and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to sleep.
Wish I had the oblivion of sleep.
Eden moved in from McAction's writing corner by Riasol.
Okay.
Riasol entered
Alright,
channel.
so it is going to be morning unless y'all have anything else y'all want to do that night. And we'll have y'all probably waking up Tumdrum. You get to make me a con save.
I took a heavier dose of sleep sweet, but
How many doses would you have taken?
I
How
think
many are left?
no, we've got hundred or maybe not hundreds, but a couple and over 100 drops
Y'all have
left.
plenty of sleep sweet for the time being, yeah.
So I went 4, I'll go to 6.
Okay, so I think the last time you did 4, I think this would actually guarantee you a night of good sleep, so. So yeah, you sleep well and you don't have any dreams, and yeah, your con save was actually pretty good this time.
Sweet.
Sweet sleep.
Yes.
Now you know the reason for the name of this drug.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have another question. Since with all the time that's passed, has Tantrum stress even lowered over the course of the weeks?
It's lowered some. Tumdrum being around, his deity, of course, he's eased off a little bit. Adam, of course, he's kind of brushed off his kind of sadism in another way, kind of turned himself inwards into introspection and kind of came out and turned around as a new man, so
Okay.
listen, it's probably not the way I would have formed it, but yes, Adam came out, and
It's all good. I'm not
At the same
ashamed.
time to hear Adam came out. That's all I caught out of that.
of course, Dee. But yeah, you think that stress levels will be pretty good at this point. I mean, it's never going to be completely healed. There's always going to be, like, if y'all get back to that point of madness again, it's going to be just as painful, but it's not like you're going to instantly jump back into madness at this point. And everyone else who didn't hit madness is pretty much as fine as they've ever been. They didn't have their resolve tested in such a way that they weren't broken. Saltines. So, what do y'all do in the morning?
Report in.
The guards meet you at the kind of entrance to the tent, and they will kind of give a nod and kind of open it for y'all, assuming y'all don't bring any weapons with you. And as y'all kind of go in, the Baron will greet you and ask you to take a seat.
I'll salute and I'll take a seat this time.
And you can kind of see that he looks, he doesn't look quite as like as well put together as he did like the first day on the island. It looks like you don't think he slept very much the night before, and it looks like he's been kind of poring over what he's had in this room, and kind of has that kind of look to his hair where he's been he's a little bit unkempt, and which is pretty different for a noble, but looks like he's.
Do you mean tousled?
Yes, tousled.
Okay.
But it's not that much of a stretch for him because he, like I said, he's from the northern reaches. He's a pretty large guy, has a blonde hair, a beard, and tends to have doesn't look like he's got a little bit of a wild hair to him, so he doesn't look quite like the nobles of Choso, but what you would kind of expect from the northern reaches, anyways. And but he kind of reaches you and says, "Have you thought of my proposition yet? Have y'all come to any agreement?"
Yes, sir. We made a list of potential candidates. I'm assuming that you mean the
Yeah, I think that's what I mean.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Yes. I'm sorry. 2 seconds.
We picked a bunch of people that we think would fit the roles very well.
2 seconds.
People that we know and have worked with
2 seconds.
already. And we were hoping a couple of people that have some of the newcomers can fill the few roles that we had no perfect fit for.
He'll look over some of the names you supply, and he'll kind of ask you about some of them. He can make sense of why you put maybe like Richtofen or some of your own members as prime candidates for actually perform some of the roles, and some of you would be able to move about and still do your other duties and also still fill this role. But he will take note of the idea of Caliph being kind of submitted as well, and we'll state. He'll look at Caliph very directly and say, "You would serve as diplomat to us?"
Aye, if you would have me.
Would there be any conflicts as far as your roles back on New Darfos? I understand you're native to these Storm Owls, and I do not know the ways of how your kingdoms link together quite at this time, but I would hope we wouldn't be stepping on any draconic toes if we did enact such an idea as to have you serve as our diplomat.
Kill's gonna pause for a minute. Other than the conflicts that I've spoken to you of in our previous meeting, the only other conflict that would come into question is the fact that I am without husband. That is a conflict I intend to resolve in the future, but not quite in the near future, if that's understandable.
You can kind of see like the wheels in his head kind of mechanically going back to like the image of what he'd seen the day before, and says, "I see. So long as that is not a problem, then I would see no issue. But if anything begins to change, I would hope you let us know. You would let us know immediately."
I will.
Thank you. We can start drawing up some documents, and I can hopefully, if any of you need any additional briefing on what your task would entail, then you can perhaps come to me for any kind of tutelage. I can attempt to delegate as much as I can, but I will never have enough time in the day without some help from each of you who would be filling these roles. It's always the ones at the top that tend to lose the most sleep. And as I'm going to be feeling this, so shall all of you. But know that it does not come without its share of rewards.
Rio, knowing what little we do of the Baron, would we know if he is a man who takes to sparring as a sport, or is he combat ready?
You think he's probably about as well trained as Adam is. You think that this guy, growing up as nobility, he must have been trained.
Okay.
There's impossible for him not to have been trained, and he would not be a slouch either.
Then I will step to Tumdrum and ask for him to reach in his bag of holding and give it to me.
I don't think that would fit in there.
Oh, really? I thought we had stashed it in there before when.
Yeah, I was looking at the dimensions of it, and I.
Okay, well let's if you will allow us to retcon this, I would like to present the Baron with Lost Thane's Reach as a gift, welcoming gift.
Okay, we'll say that there is a you have one of the we'll say Van Heiden's out there. He probably met y'all out there, and he would kind of hold on to the weapon for you until y'all can speak with the Duke. Well, I keep saying the Duke, the Baron, and the Baron would say, he would be welcome to see this, and as kind of Van Heiden would kind of help kind of bring the pike in. It's really long. A pike. I don't know if y'all heard it. This thing is like fucking. I think it's like 10 feet long.
Yeah, it's got a 10. Yes, it has served me very well in battle, and.
No, he's not being the Duke of Donsberg. No, shut up.
Hey, number one.
And
yes, it's.
Van Heiden will he'll kind of bring the pike inside very carefully and kind of because he can't really chamber it so much against the shoulder when it's just so damn tall. But he'll kind of tilt it horizontally and kind of present it how one would to a superior, and the Baron will kind of look over the weapon and kind of see like some of the scars over it, and just kind of feel some of the kind of magic on this thing. Say this is a weapon beyond peer. This is beyond our own craftsmanship. Where did you find such a thing?
Oh God! Now you're making me recall history. Where did I find it on?
And Sir Weston is it General? Which
General Weston now.
Is it officially General Weston? Oh my God!
General Weston is being too modest. One of our first nights on from landing after the crash through the storm wall, we were besieged by undead that came from underneath the seas. And then after that, we were also besieged by a different sort of creature from under the seas that almost like if an elf and a fish were one species. They came up and attacked, and it's been a while, and I've been through some head trauma, and I can't remember if it was from the undead the first day or the elf-fish people the second day, but it was on one of them. It was on one of their fighters that we recovered this fine weapon, and Weston has used to great ability until a recent change of heart.
Change of heart.
I am not the man that landed on this island. While my military background still remains prominent, I have had, as Tom Drum said, a change of heart. And I now serve the crown and also the god named Salt.
The Baron looks slightly surprised at that. A very hard god to worship. He does not have many followers, and the few who do follow him are thought to be some of the most dangerous men alive.
Then it's a good thing I'm on your side.
A very good thing, General. Well, I will take this gift graciously, and I would hope that if you have any questions of me, or if any favors I might be able to do for you in the court of Choso, you would but ask. I have been impressed with you, all of you, and what you've done in the face of such adversity. And I suppose it would be very, very small task of mine to repay some of that debt. And with that, he'll kind of place the pike flat on the kind of this overlarge command table and kind of set it out and look. And even though like this thing is seen like liter upon liter of like liver blood and all kinds of other nastiness, it's pretty much it always gets clean, and it's there is the kind of history that goes along with this weapon. You can kind of see him kind of looking over it and just kind of seeing how long this thing's been around. And from what you understand, Adam, the kind of glimpses you got when you connected with that weapon, I think you even had it, when you have it in your inventory, you could kind of see what it kind of bestowed to you when you attuned to it. He's starting to kind of see glimpses of that as well, because this thing's been around for centuries, really.
It is an amazing weapon, well crafted. I wish one day that this colony will be able to build weapons of equal fortitude.
Perhaps one day. I've never been much of a man for the pike, but I think if I have a gift this grand, I think I'll have to learn quite quickly.
Anytime you're willing to spar.
I think I might take you up on that offer, but perhaps after you return. Have y'all thought too much on the idea of taking on a diplomatic visit to the Coup Kingdom? Maybe we can open up our trade lines. We have the boats for it. Between the one we're going to leave behind and perhaps the trireme we send out there, we can have something we can try to actually ship between us. We can maybe see if there's anything left in Gungren enough the dwarves can reach it, but I'm sure, finders keepers, really.
We must ask for Magdaman to make another sending to the Paragon Paladin of Anatar named Velm, who was I don't know, Dee Dee.
I just remember we were on a boat coming south, trying to get back to our settlement, and there were wyverns circling. We hoped they were wyverns and not dragons.
We fought one wyvern in the water that would be near the Coup Kingdom, and we saw something that we thought was a wyvern. It would have been slightly south of Colbrund on the east coast.
Yeah, we thought that was a dragon, didn't we?
We thought it was a dragon or a wyvern.
Yeah, I remembered the one way to the west, the western water.
Yeah, that's the one we actually killed. A red, believe it was a black one there, and reds in the building.
You saw a red one on the west end. You killed a black one on the east coast as you're coming down.
Gotcha. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we before we leave, we will need to send another sending to Val Manghall to determine, to maybe better determine how far out the dwarven search party is. Uh,
I
it would
think
probably.
whenever she replied, she said it was gonna take her a few weeks to get to y'all. Because remember, she has to
But
go around all like the slivers and the.
yeah, that was before the Baron got here. That's been.
Oh yeah.
So I want to get a new update on the time frame for that, because I don't. I think it would be best if we were here when they showed up.
Yeah, because I think that'd be down to about a week or two, but we can see.
We could always warn them about the drow that are above ground now. Still in Gungren, right? But they're above ground as opposed to in tunnels.
There were a handful of drow raiders on the other side, on the side that we exited, that was above ground. I don't know if drow have gotten to the other side. I don't know if they have the ability to actually operate the elevators, so I don't know how far they can actually get around. But yeah, there were some drow in the pretty pristine area that we exited from the little back door. But yeah, once if we're able to go and not miss them, that I'm okay with going to the Coup Kingdom. I don't know about everybody else, but I haven't heard a word against it yet.
Well, let's hear it. Does anyone else believe you'd better be served elsewhere?
I follow orders.
Maybe investigating the people or the Eklund of the Bear, the barbarians of the Bear. What is that? The Bear to the west. Because that's another kingdom that's really close. Maybe they wouldn't have the same trading potential,
don't make
but
kingdoms.
right. It'd be good to know what's there, though. Even if it is just a tent city or whatever, or they live in the wild. I don't know.
The last one we met threw a spear at my boat.
What we know of them is that they have been aggressively taking territory, but they were also apparently pretty hurt by the amount of gnolls that came out of the hole to the south that was tainted by Torbane.
Okay.
It appears to be where they all emanated from. So when we were still on the east side of that river, some of the gnolls went over the bridge and went that way, and it's probably why the bear men haven't bothered trying to advance further. What we do know of them is that they're pretty aggressive at taking territory, and that they are pretty aggressive at protecting their territory.
And their numbers are diminished right now.
Maybe.
Don't really know. Y'all haven't investigated.
But at least the Gnoll attacks will have probably made them be like, if we keep going further, we'll just see more gnolls. So maybe they just decided to stop where they are.
Yeah. I'm just throwing out ideas, right? Like,
yeah.
Tana, do you have an opinion? You've been quiet for a while. I'm wondering if you're still alive.
Yeah, I'm still alive. Strategy's not my big thing, and like Adam said earlier, I follow orders. Where they tell me to go, I'll go.
And the Baron will speak up. Well, I'm happy we have so many good soldiers among us then. It is. Probably makes sense y'all made it so long as y'all did, being able to keep it together like this. But, go ahead and see if you can speak with your priest and see if you can communicate with the dwarves, and if you can work in a day and tell me at which point you will best be leaving, then you can certainly let me know when to have the ships ready.
So am I
Understood.
so am I hearing this right, that if Valm isn't here before, or if we've got time, we're going to the Ku Kingdom to try and establish trade routes if we've got time before Valm gets here, right? So this is all on Mactaman?
Yeah, Macman's gonna have to do a sending, and
It'd be something small like the Thane is still 9 out of the coma. We meet.
No big rush, take your time.
Yeah. Hope you're safe. Do you have an estimated time?
How's the weather down there?
yeah, we're not gonna do the whole 25 words thing. You can just send something up and kind of get a rough timetable is when they'll be back. Let me see, sending.
Because if we're using the boats, and if we need to hang around, we can at least go ahead and send the boat, and then maybe walk north to meet it on the shore, and go across. Because it could take a couple of days for the boat to go down through the river, out to sea, and around the side. So if we have to be here for that, because we've walked that before, sort of similar to that before.
Okay, so y'all go and the Baron will kind of wish you well and just, thank you for the gift and everything, and just if y'all have anything to report, just come back as soon as possible, and he'll try to make sure everything gets squared away. He states he should be available for much the rest of the day, and besides that, he'll thank you and congratulate you on your promotions.
Thank you, sir.
Can Cal spend the rest of the day with all gathering notes to prepare for a possible trip to the Ku Kingdom?
Sure thing. He will give you a crash course on the history of the Ku Kingdom. So, Caleb kind of splits off and goes her own way. Which of y'all are going to go see Mactaman? He's probably got his own kind of apothecary's tent that he's running right now.
He might have been with us getting his high priest thing, but one of the things he made sure he mentioned before he left last week was that he wanted to get all of his materials down into the temple so he could have a more permanent place for his making healing kits.
Okay, we can probably do that as well, so he can probably be down in the temple. That's fine.
So we'll go meet him there.
There's plenty of space down there. And yep, so he'll probably be then in the middle of getting his stuff moved down there, and he'll be in the temple, and he will kind of greet y'all when y'all show up. How did the visit with the Baron go? I could not attend myself. I would much rather be serving the people by another means, but I suppose I could fill another. I could provide another service while I'm doing so. How can I help?
We need a sending to Velm to get an idea of, because to let them know the Thane still hasn't awoken from the coma, because he hasn't yet, has he?
Nope.
No.
He's been catatonic for like about a month now.
Yeah, it's troublesome. It's worrisome, but I don't know anything I can do about it. But
is someone feeding him good berries or something? Like a month without food, right?
Yeah, you imagine someone like they're giving him water and everything, taking care of him that way. Yeah.
Good berries is a good call because that's like a full meal. So yeah, that's a good idea. We've got druids making the trees grow, so we gotta have somebody can do a good berry. Great thinking, Dee Dee. But the Baron wants us to go to the Ku Kingdom, and I just want to check with Velm about how far away they are, and that they're okay. Because I think we would need to be here when they show up, especially if the Thane is still unconscious, because they won't recognize any of these normal people and just wondering what the hell's going on.
He says, understood. Just give me a moment here and I'll set up my
no problem. Thank you, sir.
Notes. And the ritual doesn't really take any time. He's just basically kind of collecting his thoughts and trying to get an idea of who the person is in his head, and then he does ascending, and then says, I asked her what her status was, and kind of told her that we had other things we were looking into, and that see where she was on her way here. And he just says, I'll let you know when she responds back. If you want to wait around. Then he kind of stops, like almost mid-sentence, and says, she is currently within Gungren. She is currently within Gungren, and she is actually moving up towards the surface. It seems that she had found a means to get past both the slivers and the drow that were still in conflict. From what it sounds like from our message, she'll be coming around the same area, the same way we came out. It seems like she might have come up through the mines.
Yeah, interesting.
That could mean she could be here in a week if she followed the road.
Yeah. She shouldn't be too far away, yeah.
She spoke of mass graves, so that's the only place I can really imagine.
Yeah, that was the back way we took.
So we were thinking maybe go meet her, or just wait here for her? Because we can't make Coup Kingdom and back in a week, can we?
Well, she would have to meet you at some point, but I'm not sure she'd want to have us here to greet her. I mean, I could certainly greet her when she got here. I speak Dwarven, but she will be here in about roughly a week if they stick to the road. Maybe less than that, maybe 4 or 5 days. But
yeah, now that you bring it up, with you here, maybe we don't all have to be here. I mean, it's not like we can do a whole lot. You know everything we've been through and would tell them. And you know Dwarven.
I've been keeping an eye on the Thane. He's not changed very much. Not for the better, but also not for the worse. It seems like it's the same stupid that someone came over you, but given that he was in Gungren for a month, maybe 2 months, it might just be a kind of compounded problem where we just have to simply wait for his mind to hopefully recover if he's not completely lost.
Plus, there's no telling how many nights he slept in front of that God's mirror.
That too, we do not know what any of that entails. But none of my medicine can divine what its effects are, other than perhaps Tana seems to be a little bit less stressed when she looked into it.
They immediately confiscated the God's Mirror when we went in the Cobra. They've encountered it before, and the Paragon Paladin of Anatar, if their civilization knows about it, would know about it, would have some idea.
It seems just about almost everyone has some kind of negative connotations with these gods, Mirror. So,
correct.
Probably for the best that it was destroyed.
Yeah. She's probably the best bet at figuring out what to do if he can't come out of it just naturally with time. Or it may still need to do that. I'm good with trusting you here being the lead on that contact. We need food, and if they need a faster way of getting home back to Colbran, we can offer our ships when we get back from the Coup Kingdom. I know the dwarfs aren't very fond of boat but we could do that.
I'm sure the paladin probably won't mind so much if it helps get her thing back safely and not having to drag them through the deep roads.
That's a good point. We'll try and make it as fast as we can if to the Ku Kingdom and back.
If anything arises, I will give you a sending and give you a heads up and let you know. I assume, if we had a problem, you would be able to be back within a week. But
yeah, if it came down to it, I could fly here. It may take a full day to get from wherever we are in the Ku Kingdom to here, but I could do my best to get here. Just
yes.
me.
Can never underestimate you and your Aminus. All right. Very well then. I will reach out with the sending if I learn anything new, but she should be here within at least maybe 4 or 5 days. If y'all need to head on, I can handle things here.
Cool, and I'm sure you can convince the Baron to make sure that they stay there if they decide to stay and wait for our boats. Their stays comfortable.
Very much, and plus it's probably a good idea to remain here just because of all the new colonists here on this new land. They're going to be passing diseases around again, and I'll have to make sure no one gets too ill.
Ooh, yeah, good point. Very good point.
Did anyone tell Macman about his promotion?
I assume y'all would have told him that y'all had basically
Assignment, I guess, not promotion.
gave him the. I mean, y'all had to talk to him to ask him about if he would be willing to do it. So. I don't know.
Deal.
Did y'all tell him?
Yeah, I'm sure we did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
we
course,
did.
yeah.
Woo! Promotion. I would prefer not to have done anything as far as like the whole priesthood, but I feel if I turn down such an opportunity, the high priest might have me lynched.
That sounds awful.
Oh well, they staked a lot on trying to get a member of the Way of the White here. I feel it's only fair. I've never been much of a priest, but I do what I must for to have the knowledge of my trade. There are no better doctors on Choso than those of the Way of the White.
Well, good luck. We'll see you. Hopefully, we'll see you in a bit.
Good journeys. Stay safe, my friends. And with that, he'll kind of wish you off, and he'll kind of keep getting his lab ordered. He'll probably be a level down below the actual temple. He'll probably be like kind of around the mausoleum area, kind of restructuring and making it into a lab down there, to where not only can he kind of help, kind of entomb anyone who maybe dies in the near future, but also it being a little bit safer place as far as like alchemical supplies and such as like maybe some of the dangerous stuff like the gunpowder. It's better for it to be further down below rather than around the surface.
Can he give Tana one of his healing kits?
Yeah, sure, he will.
How about the spell storing ring?
Yeah, he'd give up his magic items while he's just kind of hanging around at the camp. He doesn't see like you don't think he'd need anything
So
like that.
That would give I assume one of the three of us that can't heal the ability to heal. Tana can handle a healing kit. I guess she's got that instead.
Well, I mean, for the sake of simplicity, since he's no longer in the party, he's not going to be pumping his healing spells into it anymore.
Okay, I thought he could still cast.
He can, but he's going to be more like a ritual guy at this point.
All right.
He's not here to like, okay, well, we stop back to camp. Let's have Macman fill up the old ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's not fair.
Well, it's just I already deleted his character as far as a PC. He's an NPC now, so I'm not gonna sit there and hold his all of his little feature stats in place just so you can game the system.
So what's the healing kit going to do for me? Because I can't really,
Right.
unless somebody
Right.
makes a healing potion or something.
You don't have the healing feat that he had,
Right.
but a healer's kit in anybody's hands has the ability to stabilize a dying creature. And with your thieving skills, you're able to move around fast, can disengage fast. I think you can also use your cunning action to use an item.
Yep.
So if it came down to it, what stabilize means is somebody who's dying and having to make death saves, you can immediately make sure they don't have to make any more death saves, but you don't heal them like to hit points.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
It's actually just because she's a thief that she can do it. Like, only thief rogues can actually do the fast hands thing and use an item.
right.
So,
But even so, you're the fastest around running around. So if you had to run up to somebody to do this and try and still run away, you're like the best chance of doing it, because just to stabilize. And since we don't have his ability, it's still nice to have a little bit of that. I'm trying to see what I am attuned to. I may grab that ring.
and Mac will say, perhaps when you return, I'll have more healing potions brewed up, but it will still take me a time longer to have all of that set up.
Understood. No worries, man. You've had a lot to go through. And I'm sure you've had your own sacrifice to salt that we don't understand.
He only nods. He doesn't want to continue the conversation.
Yeah. Is that you, Magdalene? Yeah.
He walks into the sea. Just kidding. But yeah, y'all can pick who picks up the ring. He also gives up the boots that he had as well.
Yeah, we might want to give the boots to the Thane, since we did see his name on the receipt.
Like, wait, hold on. Someone's been wearing these boots.
Shop tested.
Are not then.
Okay. Alright, yep, he says fairly well.
If one
Good
of you
journeys.
if one of you paladins wants to drop some heals into the Spring of Spell Storing, I'll fully attune to that, and that would give us another healer. Or Caleb can use it, but I mean, I don't think it's. I don't know. I guess you need the extra slots too.
Well, you don't have 3 you're attuned to?
Yeah, I've got a ring of something, I think, but I don't see it anywhere. I've got my breast. Yeah, I've got the Flame Tongue, Donegan's Sallet, and my armor. And
Donegan's Sallet doesn't require attunement.
Right, exactly.
The thing is that who would you expect to be doing? Who would be
Healing,
free to
yeah.
actually do healing in the event that someone was going down?
Well,
Adam's kind of the tank, or at least he was. I'm not sure if he'd still be doing the same thing, but it depends on who would have the actions free to do such a thing.
yeah. I use a bonus action to rage, but that's about all I've got. And I mean, I'm definitely a front line, right? Like, that's all I can do.
Well, just about every single one of you. The only one who doesn't have an extra attack is Tana, and she still does a ton of damage when she attacks. So if she loses her attack for the turn, at the same time, she's the most mobile. So if someone goes down, she'll very, very likely be able to reach them.
Yeah.
Then again, she's attuned to Borisane. She's attuned to the Ring of Invisibility. I think she also is attuned to the Ring of Jumping.
Cassandra's goggles.
That's not an attunement.
Oh, okay.
Derpy. Well, let me know what y'all are doing.
Are we leaving on this day or the next day?
Whenever y'all want.
Tundrum, you want the ring?
He makes a point about it being somebody. Well, I'll probably be the one putting stuff into the ring.
I mean, if we have a whole day, I can throw 7 heals into it. I mean, that's.
Yeah, and you probably got a better charisma modifier than Tumdrum, I imagine.
I do, actually.
Yeah, he does. And it can only hold 6 levels.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was
spells.
4.
No, it can hold 6 levels worth of spells.
Oh, cool.
It had 4 spells in it because he did something at a higher level. But it's levels of spells. You can do 6 level 1 spells,
I'll do
2 level 3. It's just it adds up to 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it would be 3. It would be 3 second level cure wounds.
Well, I could easily give up this ring of jumping because I've never used it yet, I don't think.
Well, do you have the ability to cast Healing Word?
No, it's a cleric.
No.
And Bard.
Yeah, but I didn't pick it up, and I can't retrain
Oh.
Bard. I can't retrain Bard spells until I level in Bard, and I haven't done that in 7 levels, and I don't know if I ever will again.
So this ring of healing is really not useful to anybody?
No, it's useful. It's just if we could put Healing Word in it, it would be a bonus action to use. But Cure Wounds is a full action, and we're just trying to determine who best is normally the one who could actually spend a full action doing it. Because if we do that, that means we're saying no to 2 attacks from Dee Dee, who would be attacking in her rage and with her magic weapon. And has 2 attacks.
Also, if Dee Dee doesn't attack during her rage or doesn't take damage for the turn, her rage goes off. She doesn't have persistent rage yet.
Yeah. Since my strength has fallen back down to something normal, and my spells aren't particularly strong, it might be best if I hold on to it and just have more slots of healing.
You just need to think about it this way. You're not looking at so much now as keeping someone topped off, but just keeping them on their feet.
Exactly.
Y'all are going to start using your hit dice for once.
We've got, and the thing is Weston doesn't need it because it would be his lay on hands ability to just slap somebody on, but I also have that ability. But his attacks are going to be better than my attacks.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely more the tank version of a paladin. With compelled duel and command and spells like that.
And I think Kalis spells are going to be much more potent than mine. And
so you could get Kale to load it up and have some high-powered offensive spells then, if healing isn't what's needed, right?
I can throw off cantrips at a decent clip, or come in and attack with 2 attacks.
What level magic could you throw in there? A couple of fireballs or something?
Not a screwdriver. What is it? The Craftsman multi-tool or whatever. Swiss Army knife. That's it. We'll worry about that later. We can do that on the boat. Let's does any of your retainers know where the best port is to go into? I think we used to know it on the map, but it had gotten remasked. Whichever's best to go to.
Who are you speaking to?
You. If we're going to go to the Coup Kingdom and try and initiate
yeah, pretty much the
truce and
same
trade
day the group met with the Baron. Kale was going to spend 24 or so hours with Thal to try to get some information to the Coup Kingdom, so she should have that information on hand. Likely Port Pamai.
You think that the closest port would be one called Nakamura, which is like right across from y'all. I'll even reveal it on the map for you.
Ooh, thank you. I thought Port Pamai was the closest because it was the only thing that was revealed from what I saw.
Now, we kind of went into this before because we didn't want to go into the very deep waters.
Yep. So Nakamura would be the closest port, but as far as like if you wanted to just get, as far as like land travel cut down and just stay, Port Pamai would be like the shortest kind of land distance. But if you landed at Nakamura, you'd probably be right at one of their ports, and you'd have to go through down the road and to reach Echizen, which is the capital. There's some villages along the way. It's mostly safe once you're actually in the Ku Kingdom.
We've got to go quite a ways by water to get there, don't we?
If you wanted
Yes.
to go around, yes.
Land travel it is. My vote, anyway.
Anyone else have a vote? Or are y'all going for Nakamura?
I would always much rather land than water. I've had my fill of water. Though, I guess maybe not now being... Oh,
Salt.
damn it.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're reconsidering, Adam.
No, that's it. I do choose the sea.
Well, this isn't going to be like an actual sea voyage. At least not the one that was sold really respect. Not exactly going to New Horizons. You've been to these waters before. But it would be going to a new kingdom, and stepping in on fresh ground would be a lot different. Salt would probably respect that.
I vote for by water.
Water.
I say go to Port Pamai. Because if things don't go well, they may not exactly know where we straight up came from.
So if you want to go to Nakamura, put a check mark. If you do not want to, if you want to go to the other one, then put an X.
I'm a follower. I'm not deciding.
Because Nakamura is really close, and if we piss them
Abstaining
off,
is an option.
I'm sorry, you said X if you choose Pamai?
If you want to go to Nakamura, put a check mark. If you want to go to the other one, put an X.
Oh, seriously?
Yep. No, I'm
not
abstaining.
a
Time for
decider.
you to,
I'm going to abstain.
Yeah, time for you to fucking vote.
Okay, so if we go by land, it takes how long? If we roughly, if we go by boat, it takes how long?
Oh,
I
for
thought-
fuck's sake.
I thought we were going to boat either one, right?
You have to take a boat no matter what. I mean, you could.
Oh, I thought we were
walk
just
through
going north from our settlement and going by land if we go to Nakamura. No?
What does
Sorry.
our Grand Diplomat say?
Land.
Sold.
Better to make a reputation for themselves traveling by land than simply instantly going by boat.
Boat isn't instant either. There's stuff happens out there. But yeah. She says
You think,
land. I'm good
judging
with
by the
that.
terrain, it would take you 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd take you 3 days to reach the fort of Nakamura. If you went by boat, it'd be more than 3 days to reach Port Pamai.
Yeah, it's a shitload more than 3 days.
Well, a boat would be slightly faster, but at the same time, you'd have to really just go way around.
Nakamura it is.
I didn't see you put a fucking check. Okay. So, Nakamura. That's what the vote goes towards. That's where y'all are going towards. Whenever y'all decide to leave is up to y'all.
Dawn. The next day. My vote.
We'll do it tomorrow.
gives us time to prep everything.
Like
Yeah, out of
spowering.
session and all that. Yeah.
Get Mac on the boat. Oh, are we walking? Never mind.
Yep. Yeah, they're walking. Yeah, I'm just gonna walk right up to their wall and kind of ask to come inside.
I told him we've already got one.
I fart in your general direction.
Yeah, Kale's gonna, during that time, find Adam and basically tell him that she's taken Millie with the entire group. And not to ask about it, if possible, because it was a very touchy subject with Millie.
Oh, I thought you were going to confess your love for me. That's fine. Anyone is
Talk
welcome.
about a
Yeah, anyone
killer
is.
boot.
Yeah, anyone is welcome as long as they're willing to fight. If it comes down to it.
Question. Do we know of the Aether obelisk next that's kind of close by?
Which one?
The 3940.
Yeah, y'all seen it. Kind of around. Yeah, I mean, y'all had
Okay.
people kind of scouting around the nearby area, and someone would have told you they spotted one. I don't think y'all have actually been in that hex yourselves, though.
I don't think we have either. If we have like a piece of a day left before we call it a night and go at dawn, I'd like to go with Aminus over to it and maybe help better triangulate where that other shadow is, or where that shadow is pointing. If that's possible.
Well, if your group's okay with it, yeah, you can do that.
Everybody cool with that? Because we're not leaving until the morning, right? So we still have a little piece of a day left.
We have a piece of a day left. Yeah. That's fine with me.
So how about Caliph briefs us on what we're going to find in the Coup Kingdom? Will that make sense? Just bullets and notes of what she discovered reading the library.
We can probably. What'll probably happen is I'll be sending her basically what Thou knows of the Coup Kingdom, and she can relay that to y'all probably next session.
Makes sense.
Yeah, cool.
So we'll probably be calling it 15 minutes earlier than this session, unless y'all have anything else y'all want to try to work through as far as RP and all. I know we've kind of skipped a few combat sessions at this point, but that's what I'm going to be what I'm hoping to start doing here with this campaign is that it's going to kind of shift onto onto a different end, where it's the kingdom building stuff's going to kind of start up. Y'all are going to have like kind of working by the calendar, and you are basically going to just have the whole map open to you as far as where y'all want to go and what y'all want to do as far as advancing the settlement itself. Y'all basically have all the kind of hooks in place as to where y'all want to go and what y'all want to investigate. So it's
That
pretty much up
probably
to y'all
works
what you want to do.
That works pretty good without a healer, or without a designated healer.
Y'all don't. Well, it's 5th edition. You don't really need a healer because the thing is that like the as far as like as DM, I can kind of ramp up encounters or kind of de-escalate them, given on like what your party composition is.
Right.
So
Okay.
less instead of some of the fights being so bursty, which I've seen some of these fights where all of you just being gotten destroyed. It'll be more of a thing of attrition throughout the day rather than just so much immediate lethality. There will still probably be some of those if you guys have to get over your heads, but like I said, that's the whole thing of not having a healer. Y'all don't need to worry about that. That's something for me to worry about.
All good?
But maybe don't walk around a pool of lava. Don't do that.
Cool.
Yeah, don't do that.
It was look at them crossways.
Tana, you're so quiet.
So Sorry, there's really nothing I have to contribute.
Weston's
Tana
gonna
just
find
shoots.
another
Tana
god
just shoots
and have
people.
no hands left.
No, I'll cut toes off next time.
Toes, yeah, that's a better idea.
Start taking dexterity negatives.
Heavy armor, no big deal.
Alright, so we're calling it?
I think so. Have a good night, guys.
Y'all have a good night.
Does the obelisk give me another shadow that I can maybe better triangulate, or is it still
Like I said,
at the
it's
same kind of direction? It's
pretty
still kind of
much
tough.
pretty much northeast. You'd have to probably, if you want to like fly around and move around some, you can. Probably like if you want to fly around, you can kind of see if it changes any. But you think at this point, having but you've walked by like 3 of these obelisks, and they all kind of point in the same general direction. You kind of feel like it's kind of far away.
Understood.
Good thing is we're going northeast. So.
Towards Nakamura, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Oh wow.
Maybe
okay.
you're walking towards your destiny, Dum-Drum.
Oh my.
I thought it was pointing more at Harrow down. Okay.
Tune in next week to find out.
Same bad time. Oh shit.
Well, we'll see. It depends on what y'all want to chase down. They'll have 10 more levels to go. Let's make it fun.
All right, cool.
Y'all have a good night.
Y'all have a good night. Good